$5 over on Venmo. Appreciate you for the love. Show some love to Cameron. Also, I don't snowboard, but I do ski. Appreciate you so much. As well as Christian. Thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal, saying, have I ever listened to the band Ghost? I have not, but I really appreciate you for the love, Christian. And then Catherine with the $4.50. Thank you so much, Catherine. And let's see here. Oh my God, Natasha. Thank you so much for the $100 on Venmo. Holy shit. Whoa. Dude, what? Yo, let's get 1,000 Natasha W's down below in that chat. Holy cow. I was not expecting that at all. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so much. Natasha with $100 says, you're my favorite, Dean. It is my B-day next week, and I feel like giving, take your girlfriend out to dinner. I watch you daily. Keep up the great work you do. Natasha, first and foremost, happy early fucking birthday. Okay, listen, if you even get like 30 seconds to pop into the stream on your birthday and you let me know that you're here, I would love to give you like a massive shout out on your birthday. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for your kindness, Natasha. And by the way, I will definitely be using that $100 towards the dinner for me and my girlfriend, because as I've been talking about, we're heading out to Boulder here to enjoy Halloween, and there's a really nice restaurant in Boulder that I've been wanting to go to for a couple of years. I'm going to take her there. Thank you so much, Natasha. That is incredibly kind of you. As well as one more here, Brianna. Thank you so much for the $10 over at Venmo. As well as, yeah, I'll reach out to you, Brianna. I'm very familiar with your page, Politics, quite frankly. You've been editing me and Parker for ages, so I will have to reach out to you. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Yeah, show some love to Natasha. Show some love to all the donors. Let's go to get the live stream started on YouTube. Once we do, we'll hop into the debate. Maddie. And it won't start? What the fuck? Here, give me a second. Whoa, what the fuck? I'm sorry. We don't usually experience issues like this. I guess I'll just reuse the thumbnail from yesterday. Broadcast creation error forbidden. What the fuck? All right, folks, I guess we got to go ahead and restart OBS real quick. This is going to crash my camera. So you're going to see this for like the next 30 seconds while we're quickly restarting OBS. I apologize for all the issues, my friend.
No, you're totally fine.
Yeah, OBS just does this sometimes. It's rare, but it happens. Okay, I think it's working now. It is.
Okay.
All right, and of course my mic is not plugged in to OBS. What the fuck? Okay, there we are. Hello and welcome into the stream for everybody that is joining us on YouTube and for everybody that has already joined us on TikTok. It is so good to see you all. I apologize for everybody hanging out with us on TikTok. We were having some technical errors and some complications getting the stream started over on YouTube, but we got it and we are good to go. Now, if you haven't been here before, let me just quickly tell you what we do. We debate Trump supporters. We try to change their minds, as well as, you know, the knowledge that we discuss here can be used by you to hopefully change the minds of any Trump supporters in your life, like your friends or families. Now, we already have a Trump supporter on the line. We've been keeping them waiting for quite a bit, so we're just going to hop right into things. Their name is Maddie. They're 18 years old, and they support Trump. Maddie, go ahead and take it away and tell us why.
So when he was president, I feel like I'm not too exactly educated, but from what I've seen, when he was president, I feel like personally I feel like the economy was a little bit better than when Joe Biden was. A lot of rates went up when Joe Biden became president, prices and everything. I just feel like Trump was a lot better on that, considering I do have a child and it's really expensive to take care of my child. And I feel like everything has went up since Joe Biden became president. Now, so Trump made that a lot better for me to be able to afford stuff for my child. So that's also another reason why I do support Trump. So,
okay, yeah, well, I mean, I think that you're making a grave error in your thought process here. So you're thinking just because prices were lower under Donald Trump in his first term, that therefore Donald Trump caused them to be lower and Biden caused them to be higher. Now, this is not true at all. The reason why we had higher prices under the Biden-Harris administration was because of global supply chain issues onset by the pandemic, right? You know, the inflation that we saw is also something that every other country in the world saw too. In fact, because of the policy of the Biden-Harris administration and their intelligent economic stimulus of the American marketplace, we were able to disproportionately rebound faster from that inflation onset by the pandemic when compared to any other country in the G7. Now, here's something else I'd like to point out. Point number one, the economy has only gotten worse in the last 10 months. 10 months ago, every single fact of the American economy was better. Inflation was lower, employment was higher, unemployment was lower, GDP growth was higher, investment into American businesses was higher, and I could go on all day and continue to discuss these facts, okay? But another big fact that I'd like to bring up here is, of course, because you said that you're a mother, and you also said that you're 18, so I'd assume that you have a very young child, right?
Yes, he's 10 months old.
10 months old. Well, Kamala Harris ran on increasing the child tax credit to over $6,000 for the first year of a child's life. Okay, then $600 for the next 4, then $3,000 from the age of 4 to 17. So you would have personally saved a significant amount of money in taxes just because you would have been walking into the Harris administration with a very young child. So not only is our economy worse off today, not only did Biden not cause the inflation under his term, not only could you not point towards anything that Donald Trump did in his first term to make prices lower, but if Kamala Harris had won the election, who ran against Trump in the last general, you would have had a lot more money in your pocket because of her child tax credit.
Oh, okay. Well, I heard about that, and I do somewhat support Kamala Harris for that statement also. But I mean, you educated me on a lot more than what I did know. Thank you so much for that. I'm not really too educated on everything, but thank you for that. I just want to hear why you don't support Trump also. I would like to hear why you don't support Trump, so I could be a little educated on things that you don't support.
You know what? Sure, why not? I'll go over a handful of reasons why I don't support Trump as president, and then we'll hopefully move on to the next debate here. Now, I do have to ask, would you like me to tell you why I don't support Trump, summed up into like a paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 10 paragraphs, 10 pages, doctoral thesis? What do you want to hear?
You could just give the basic rundown.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't support Trump as president because of 3 main categories. Those 3 main categories are domestic policy, foreign policy, and character. When I'm giving this rundown, I always like to start with character. So he is an adjudicated rapist, okay? A civil court found that he raped a woman in the 90s. He is a 34-count felon. In 2005, in August, he went on Howard Stern's podcast and boast about unconsensually barging into the dressing rooms of naked teen girls and naked women to look at them when they had no clothes on. And in the 90s, too, he turned around and sexualized a 10-year-old girl, saying that he'd be dating her in 10 years. He's also hit on his own daughter, agreeing with Howard Stern, calling her a hot piece of ass, saying that he would be dating her if she wasn't his daughter. And he's also cheated on all 3 of his wives, one with a porn star. And that's on top of being best friends with Epstein in the 90s and sending him letters with the depiction of the outline of the naked body of a woman or girl in the statement, "May every new day be a new wonderful secret." And these are only some of the facts of his character. We haven't even touched on his incessant lies. He told over 30,000 confirmed lies in the first term. He told the biggest lie that any sitting president has ever told and still is today with his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election. Not to mention he is incredibly racist. In the 70s, he refused to rent his properties to black tenants. Then the New York State Justice Department sued him for it. In the 90s, 1992, he called all black people lazy. In 1997, affirmed that something that he said. All right, 2010 through 2015, he said that Barack Obama is a black man who was born in Africa, even though Barack Obama released his birth certificate proving he was born in Hawaii. He said it was fake. That was Donald Trump trying to systemically limit the job opportunity of a black man because of the color of his skin. Because, of course, in attempting to convince people he was born in Africa, he was attempting to convince people not to vote for him due to the fact that he'd be constitutionally ineligible to serve as our president. Another big issue would be his anger problems, in which he likes to take out on the American people through authoritarianism. He was so angry when he lost the 2020 election that he launched his fake elector scheme, where when Biden won the 7 key swing states to win the vote, he then sent fake slates of electors to those states with fake votes from those states saying he won those states, and then he directed them to send those fake votes back to Congress, and then he attempted to persuade his vice president, Mike Pence, into certifying them as real. Now, not only has Donald Trump testified about this scheme in front of Congress and in front of SCOTUS, saying that yes, this is something he did, but it was an official act of his presidency, but we've also heard testimony from Mike Pence saying that, well, Donald Trump was asking to place him, asking me to place him above the Constitution. And this also doesn't account for his prosecution of political opponents, calling for Obama to be thrown in jail, calling for Biden to be thrown in jail, calling for Kamala Kamala Harris to be thrown in jail, calling for Hillary Clinton to be thrown in jail, calling for Letitia James to be thrown in jail, calling for James Comey to be thrown in jail, and then going on TV saying it's illegal to criticize him in the media, then saying, quote unquote, we're taking your free speech away, then infringing on the First Amendment by trying to ban the burning of the American flag, then infringing on the Second Amendment by telling his Justice Department to find a way to ban gun ownership for all law-abiding trans-American citizens, and then infringing on the 14th Amendment by signing Executive Order number 14160 into law, trying to attempting to ban birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil, even though they've had that right guaranteed to them since the ratification of the 14th in 1868, infringing on the 22nd Amendment by saying that he wants to find a way to run for a third term, even though the 22nd Amendment says you could only serve two, infringing on the 10th Amendment by militarizing American cities and deploying the military in cities like Chicago, Memphis, and Portland with no reason, having multiple federal judges rule him out and strike him down. Then yesterday, yes, yesterday morning, while on Air Force One, flying to America from South Korea, he said, and I quote, that he could declare an insurrection, send the military into these cities, not just the National Guard, but including the Army, the Marines, the Navy, so on and so forth, and no one could stop him, not even the courts. And I don't know, that is maybe 45% of the reasons why I don't like him. I didn't even touch on the big beautiful bill, how it was the most expensive policy in American history that took healthcare away from 10 million low-income American citizens, or the fact that because of his government shutdown, the day after tomorrow, 41 million low-income Americans are going to lose any and all SNAP or food stamp benefits. And then when the administration was asked, well, can you guys please allow emergency funding to keep those benefits running? Or can you give a pledge that you will reimburse states for their expenditure on those benefits once the shutdown is over? He said no, 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 no. So he could have avoided the shutdown. He could have avoided the food stamp benefits going away by giving them emergency funding, and he could have avoided the food stamp benefits going away by giving a pledge to the states that he will reimburse them. But instead, like I said, he said no, 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 no. So then he could turn around and say, well, this is all the Democrats' fault and the violation of the Hatch Act on the USDA website. Now, that's maybe 55% of the reason why I don't like him. Haven't gotten into the tariffs, haven't gotten into the abortion ban, haven't gotten into the foreign policy, haven't gotten into his terrible relationships with their allies, haven't gotten into his support of Israel, I haven't gotten into any of that stuff, but I think that is more than enough to convince you and any other reasonable person that you shouldn't support Trump as president.
Well, that actually, thank you for the 5-long paragraph of why you don't like support Trump. Actually, a lot of that was very informational. I will thank you for that. That's a lot of the reason why I'm kind of in between on supporting and not supporting him. A lot of those things that you did mention, I somewhat knew about, and I still don't think he's a great person. But I honestly thank you very much for informing me. I know you don't get a lot of respectful people on here. That's also why I wanted to join up, just to be respectful and, respect your live and everything, because a lot of people that don't. Thank you. As of right now, you convinced me I should not support Trump. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love your content, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a great date with your girlfriend.
You have a good rest of your day, Maddie. All right, dude. First debate of the day, and we are already changing minds. No, oh my God, I love it. I love to hear it. I love to hear it so very much. All right, we are going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. I'm sorry, guys. When somebody asks me why I don't support Trump, they don't interrupt me, and they give me as much time as I want. I kind of get on a roll, okay? And that roll is a little bit hard to stop because there's so many reasons. There's so many reasons to not support Trump. And I bet even listening to me describe so many of those reasons over the course of around 7 minutes, I think the total was, right? You could still probably think in your own head of like a couple reasons that I didn't go over, right? So many reasons to not support Trump as president. But let's go to get that next guest loaded up into the box. What's going on? Are you MAGA?
No, sir, I'm not. I am a liberal, but I would like to debate you on gun control.
Well, unfortunately, we are just looking to talk to MAGA this morning, but I hope you have a good rest of your day. You do take care. Moving on to the next guest. While we are getting that next guest loaded up in here, Emily, thank you so much for the $25 over on PayPal. Thank you so much. As well as Emily, I'll check my DMs for that. Show some love to Emily down below in that chat for the $25, folks. Thank you so much for your kindness, Emily. What is going on, Ronan? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can I get a W from you for let's see here. Could I get a W, Alicia, from you? Could you
What do you mean?
Could you just say W, Alicia?
W, Alicia.
Go for the $20 over on PayPal. Appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you so much. Show some love to Alicia for the $20 on PayPal, as well as I just read your message. I will happily cover that. I just have to look into what the H-2A visa is. I'm not familiar with what that is, Alicia. I swear to God, once I look into it, I absolutely can cover that. Thank you so much for the $20 and the heads up, as well as Mackenzie. Thank you so much for the $2 on PayPal, who says, "Hey, Dean, thank you for changing my mind. You actually changed my mind on Trump." That's awesome, Mackenzie. And then Gigi, thank you for the $5 on Venmo saying fuck Steve, and Brianna with the $5 on Venmo also saying fuck Steve. You guys are fucking cracking me up. Yeah, go ahead and take it away, Running Deers. Why the hell do you support the worst president of your life, Mr. Trump?
He's not the worst, but
That's what we're here to debate.
he may be good in some fields and he may be bad in some fields, but honestly, for him to be the president of the United States and what he's done, I think he's better than what Biden was. I know that you saw some of these politicians in person, and of course you've spoken to some of them in person as well. I have a few questions for yourself, but my main point of why I supported him, even though he's not the best out there, I could still wrap my head around it and still vote for him because number one, it's immigration. Number two is the abuse of EBTs and food stamps that are going out in this country. It is a temporary fix for the unemployment. It's not something that is there. And I have a question for you about that shortly. Not only that, but also is basically the business side of dealing with other countries, having more jobs here in America. And then continuing too is that I would say probably a national security of certain documents being exposed and also being tight. If you want me to ask those questions, I have a few questions for you.
Can I respond to your first four reasons you gave us insofar as why you
Go
support
ahead.
Trump? Okay, so the first reason why you said you support Trump is because of immigration. In response to that, I just simply ask you, well, what specific immigration policy of Trump's do you support?
Well, the first immigration is that firstborn citizens in the United States that has been abused for this country.
Right? Do you mean to say birthright citizenship has been abused?
Yes.
So you support his attempt to end birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented immigrants?
The fact that people come into this country that are not documented, then they give birth to a baby, and that baby already automatically gets citizenship here.
So you're saying that you support his attempt to end that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that's one of the most, that's one of the worst things to support about Trump, okay? Because even if you disagree with the 14th Amendment, it is still a part of the Constitution, and that cannot be changed nor altered by an executive order from the president, okay? So, even if, for whatever reason, you say, I love the fact that Donald Trump infringed on the Constitution, broke the law of the land, when he signed Executive Order number 14160 into law to attempt to change the 14th Amendment and take that right away from them, still yet, okay, it was stricken down by many federal judges in the month or two following that EO being signed into law because it was unconstitutional and there was no movement made because, well, the checks and balances kicked in and kicked his ass out of attempting to infringe on the Constitution. So that's a really bad reason to support Trump.
Gotcha. Are you going to hit the other points that I addressed, or do you want me to start answering my questions now?
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, if you just want to concede on that one, we'll say immigration is done. Moving on to point number 2, you said EBT abuse. Okay, all right. So first you said that this is abused by individuals that are unemployed. On the federal level, you actually can't get food stamps unless you're employed in most scenarios. And the average recipient of food stamps only stays on them for 12 months or less. Did you know that?
Yep, and my question to you, and this is one of my questions to you, is that
and then third point, I have a third point here.
Go ahead.
And my third point about food stamps, right, is that he's not fixed, right, the abuse of food stamps, the low level of abuse that does exist. He's not done anything to fix that. The only thing he's done to food stamps is to fund it by $156 billion through the big beautiful bill, right? And then terminate all benefits for everybody by not allowing any funding to go to them during the government shutdown. Okay, that's not synonymous and or equivalent to good policy directed towards fixing abuse by any means whatsoever, right? It's just bad policy to hurt low-income Americans more, and if anything, it'll actually increase abuse rates.
Okay, you're gonna hit your next point.
I mean, do you have a response there, or do you concede?
Well, I'm going to ask these questions once you respond to all my points. I'm trying to be respectful.
But you understand if like you don't give like a counter argument to any of my responses here, well, I'd assume that you're just going to forget my responses and these points are going to be
I'm trying to be respectful. I'm trying to ask these questions so we can dive deeper once you address them all these points.
Well, I think that this is a really bad way to go about diving deeper, right, and like discussing more nuance.
Okay.
Like typically, when we want to discuss more nuance on any given subject, right, it's like best to go one subject at a time, right? But like still yet, like we're kind of both choosing to take the less productive route of talking about 4 things at a time, which is fine. I mean, I could do it, right? But then when you're saying that we should like talk about all 4 things at once, and then you're just gonna like mentally log my 4 responses, then ask me questions, then respond to my counter arguments, like way too far out there, bro. It's just not gonna be productive dialogue.
All right, my question to you is what nationalities what would you say for those foreigners coming into this country, which you could say, well, whether if you want to say illegals, whether if you want to say however,
why are you asking me a question about quote unquote foreigners instead of responding to the 2 counter arguments that I just gave you about your point on immigration and the abuse of EBT?
Well, the abuse of EBT is that, number one, like I said, when I first addressed EBT cards and being abused, is that it's a temporary fix for the unemployment. It's something that is not supposed to be sustained for such a long quantity of time. See, a lot of people are living off of it and staying on it for a very long time, and that is all coming from taxpayer dollars, which that is why a lot of people are pissed off. And
how much does the average taxpayer pay towards EBT?
I have to look it up.
$37. How much does the average taxpayer pay for corporate subsidies?
I don't know.
Yeah, $700 per year.
Okay, so how?
I just find it funny. I just find it funny, right? That like you're gonna come up here and you're gonna complain about a social safety net that keeps people alive, right? Makes this country as a whole better off, right? Better positions us economically speaking. For every dollar put into food stamps, there's $1.80 of economic output, right? Because it gives low-income Americans that are on them, right, more social mobility to work up and work their income up by giving them more negotiating power to hold against their employer when fighting for a higher level of income, right? Like a good analogy that I like to use here, right, is imagine that there's like a single mother of 5, right, that can't make ends meet, right? And in order to make ends meet, right, she's going to need food stamps and Section 8 from the government to help cover her rent, help cover her food bill. Well, then all of a sudden, instead of having to work 65 hours a week at whatever firm will hire her, right, including a firm like maybe McDonald's, right, that's going to immediately hire her and just give her minimum wage, right? Well, then all of a sudden she gets to sit back and say, because I'm getting this help from the government, all of a sudden I can maybe like interview for like a more competitive firm where I'm not insured a job because I don't need to be insured a job because I still have this backbone and reliance from the government. Or instead of working 65 hours a week, I could reduce that down to 40, then take that additional 25 hours per week and put it towards working towards like an online degree, so on and so forth. Yeah, you're talking
about scenarios right now.
But like at the end of the day, right, these are just reasons why we see in countries.
I understand that.
These are just reasons why we see in countries with more social safety nets, like food stamps, right, so on and so forth. Right, the citizens actually have more economic mobility, meaning it's easier for them to grow and scale their income. But I just say, right, it's really weird to complain about, right, people like being fed compared to complaining about like the $40 billion that went to Argentina, the billions and billions of dollars that continues to go to Israel, the billions of dollars that are put into corporate subsidies and pocketed by billionaires, or the $4.5 trillion that was spent on the big beautiful bill, which according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities was the largest redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich in the history of this country.
Gotcha. Okay, so I know you were trying to make a couple of scenarios and situations of, you know, not the greatest families of the United States. Okay, I got your point a while ago. Okay, my question to you was, what is the percentage of the different type of nationalities, so people from different countries that are on those benefits, and what are the rates, and what is the percentage of people that have been on there for a very long time? See, the problem is that a lot of people don't like to address that. And the one thing that I really want to drop on your head is that the reason why I voted for Trump is that under Biden's administration, you guys allowed a Chinese balloon fly across the country. Hey, a lot of Trump fans, a lot of Republicans have not forgotten about that. See, that shows weakness. That shows weakness. And you know what's funny? And you know what's funny is that you're gonna sit here and laugh, and you're gonna try to laugh it off like, you know, you're gonna win this. But dude, it's common sense.
Oh,
your administration is weak as hell.
You just broke my neck.
Hey, by the way,
yo, listen. Listen,
I wanna
point
ask
number
you,
one,
so
who cares about
the
a Chinese
president-
balloon? One moment.
Hold on.
Point number one, who cares about a Chinese balloon when your president allowed his supporters to raid
A
the Capitol
Chinese
and smear
balloon?
their shit on the walls and then assault cops,
Dude.
and then he pardoned them, let them out of jail, and called
Oh
them
my
patriots?
gosh.
And point number two, what the fuck does
Wait,
a
wait,
Chinese
wait,
balloon?
wait.
No.
So you're saying that Chinese balloons can fly over-
Let me make point number two very, very clear. Okay, point number two here is very important, sir. Point number two, listen to every syllable of every word. What the fuck? Okay, emphasis on the fuck there. What the fuck does a Chinese air balloon have to do with my reasons why you are wrong about food stamps?
Hey, I went and asked you a question to pull up those stats while you can pull them up.
No,
Second,
if you think that the stats are relevant to your argument, you could pull them up and constructing a counter argument to my position. Okay, I'm not going to do the research for your own position. What the fuck? That's silly.
Dean. Okay, Dean, you've researched stuff, but okay, fine. Okay, I'll let you take that. Okay, so my last question, and I'm trying to. I know you got a lot. You got 11K followers or 11K viewers in here.
You don't want to respond to any of the reasons that I just gave why food stamps are good and why you shouldn't really care about them, and the fact that you're complaining about them is not only anti-American, but it's also like really weird and perverse considering the fact that you have much larger fish to fry than the $37 per year that you pay into food stamps, maybe like the $700 per year that you pay into corporate subsidies that are pocketed by billionaires, or the $40 billion that went to Argentina, the billions and billions of dollars that go to Israel, or the $4.5 trillion that were spent on the largest redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich in the history of this country under the big beautiful bill, or the $230 million that Trump is now suing the DOJ for the emotional harm and abuse that he felt right while he was being prosecuted fairly and justly by various justice departments in this country. Over
you basically justified. You sat here on TikTok just now and you basically justified. You weren't supporting of it. You were more of justifying it. And you got defensive, which you never even
justifying food stamps. Yeah, food stamps are good.
No. You never even you justified the Chinese balloon flying over the country.
No, I just told you that you're
deviated around it. So yeah, you
of course I. No. I think that you need to
hold on.
understand
I got
something.
one more question.
No, I'm muting you. Okay. The reason why I didn't respond to the Chinese hot air balloon is because you use the Chinese hot air balloon as a pivot away from EBT. Right, like anybody with a brain could understand this. I'm not going to like exhaust my efforts into describing to you.
What did I not understand? How it's beneficial to some Americans? I clearly know that.
No. What you're not understanding is how you use the Chinese hot air balloon to pivot away from a conversation about the food stamps. Anybody like watching with a brain can understand that. I'm not going to attempt to justify I'm not going to attempt to like exert my effort into explaining to you how it is the case that you pivoted. But like, come on, bro. We were having a conversation about EBT. You said they were bad. I said they were good. I gave about 1 billion reasons why. You couldn't come back with a counter argument, so then you were like, "Well, Chinese hot air balloon."
All right. So, okay, I'm just gonna take the L. Okay, I'm gonna take the L because I want to ask you one more important question. Okay, let's. I'm just gonna take it as that. Okay, whatever.
Okay. So you're
W's for Dean in the chat. Okay, so you can say that. Okay, out of everybody, whether if it's the White House, pretty much the president of the United States can deal with and look at top secret, paperwork information, right? Technically the president can bring paperwork home, right? The president can bring top secret information to his house or home, or
not when they lose at top secret.
Okay. So lose. But is the president the only one that's supposed to have it? Correct?
Is the president the only one that's supposed to have top secret security?
Top secret documents at his house?
No,
Isn't he allowed to? Isn't he the only person allowed to do that?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, well, guess what? In this case, it actually is. Do your research, because my question to you is, why did Kamala Harris have? Oh, well, I'm doing that on purpose. Why does she have top secret documents at her house when she wasn't able to do that? Vice presidents are not able to do that, by the way.
Which ones?
I don't know. Oh, well, we're not going to go into specifics. I just want to.
Yeah, I'm going to need some information about your claim in order to respond to it.
No. Just because you're trying to.
Listen, dude, I'm going to need information.
Do you know which one Trump? Do you know which one Trump's had?
I mean, obviously the courts.
Do you know why? Do you know why
Trump
had top secret documents?
I can tell you about the top secret documents that he had his aides intentionally conceal in the bathroom at his Mar-a-Lago property. But like, can you give us a little bit of information about? Could you give us a little? Then why did the FBI raid his property, dumb one?
Because that's the freaking militia that you guys did. The Democrats went right after him.
Oh, okay.
And then
So
they
it
were
wasn't
like,
illegal
"Oh
whatsoever.
my gosh, why does Trump
Yeah.
still have?" See,
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Go ahead and tell me a little
Yeah,
bit more about
right,
the
that's what you're
classified
doing.
documents that. I know. I'm just asking. How is me asking you for more information about your claim like conceding that you're right, sir? Go ahead and give us more information about the quote unquote classified documents that Kamala Harris was concealing.
Oh well, before I answer that, can you do what top secret documents? Do you see how buffoon? Do you know?
There's no
you know
before.
what documents they were?
There's no before
you know
answer
what-
that.
no,
All that I'm simply
it-
asking you for is a source that this is something she did.
Well, I just want to see if you know what top secret documents.
I will
Trump had.
happily talk to you about Trump and his top secret documents that he concealed at Mar-a-Lago after you could just give us a little bit more information about your claim, bro. I feel like I'm literally like pulling nails here with you, just trying to get more information about your claim. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and make my request to you clear. My request to you is very clear. It is, you made the claim that Kamala Harris concealed classified documents at her private estate following the end of the Biden-Harris administration. And my question in response to that is, well, can you give a source for this? Can you prove it?
Yeah, I'm not sitting by a computer right now. I'm on my phone in bed. Sorry, I can't pull it up right now. But, you asked me what top secret documents Trump had, or Kamala had, correction, what Kamala had. And I'm just asking you, what documents did Trump have? See, you guys rated Trump.
I'm not at my computer right now. I can't prove it.
Let me just finish the sentence. see, the Dems did a political stunt and then boasted it all on the news because that's what you guys do. Trump had top secret documents because guess what? He was the previous president. Kamala Harris was never president. She could not have those documents in her house. It's the same shit that happened to the governor. See, that's the point that American people need to start seeing because all you guys get is a little snippet and then you guys freaking blare it all over the news. That's bullshit. And you know that. And guess what? I'm pretty sure you were to get Charlie Kirk on here, you were to get any Republican on here, I'm pretty sure that would put you right in your freaking hole, man. You think you're like where's your buddy at? Where's your other political buddy at?
Hey, did you know? I want you to go to Google. I want you to go to Google. I want you to type in just security, vice presidents and rules governing classified national security information. Actually, seemingly, right, past presidents under like certain guidelines can take declassified, priorly classified documents home, and so can the vice president.
No. See,
Damn,
that's
I just gave you a source on it.
Guess what? You're twisting it.
I just gave you a source on it, but I just gave you. I just gave you a source for it, my friend.
You gave me a source of identifying top secret documents that are not top secret anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly what Trump did.
Relevant, top secret.
Oh, are you saying that? Okay, so you're saying that Kamala Harris did something else.
Dean. You just twisted that shit.
So you're saying that Kamala Harris did something else.
Admit it that you just twisted it.
So you're saying that Kamala Harris did something else?
No.
Wait. I didn't twist it. I just gave like the Trump argument. So you understand like the argument for like Trump supporters insofar as like justifying taking documents home from Mar-a-Lago. One moment. Taking documents home from Mar-a-Lago is like under the Presidential Records Act of 1978, establishing that the official records of the president and vice president are property of the U.S. government, but they're made accessible to the individuals within office, and then they could declassify them and take them home. Like if you go and you talk to literally like any Trump supporter on the face of this planet, right, and you ask them why they do not think that Donald Trump did anything wrong, right, when he took 2018, sorry, and when you ask them why he didn't do anything wrong when he brought the documents back to Mar-a-Lago, it's because they'll tell you that he declassified them first and then brought them there after the termination of his term, right? So I'm not twisting anything. I'm actually giving you the like pro-Trump argument for taking the documents home to Mar-a-Lago, right? Now, if you're saying that Kamala Harris did something else, that these like documents weren't like declassified after they were classified by the Biden-Harris administration, and then she took them home while they were still classified, please give me a source for that.
Oh, you know what? Actually, you know what? I'm not going to satisfy you. You can pull it up because you're right on your phone and doing that. If you can pull up that, you could do it too. You could do it too. But guess what?
I'm not going to do your homework.
Kamala Harris.
Hey, little bro. I'm not going to do your homework for you. You're not cooking. Okay. Right. If you want to provide a source for what you're saying, feel free to. But if
you know how I'm hitting the nail on the head, I'm hitting towards you.
I'm so sorry. You legitimately think that you're winning wait. Actually, let me ask you this question. How do you think you're doing so far in this debate?
I think I'm doing pretty good because you're kind of rambling on. You muted me a couple times when I was trying to hit my point of how you pulled up a source that just clarifies of documents that were classified than not being classified or classified documents to undoc. Yeah. No, that wasn't justifying my answer. I asked you a question. Pull up where a law states where a vice president can bring current top secret documents to their home. Yeah. Pull me a source on that. Kamala Harris did that shit, and it's the same thing what the governor did.
Yeah, if you could prove that she did it, I'll happily try to.
Well, you did your research. You did your research just now. Do it again. Come on.
Yeah, and then you shut it down. You said, Dean, oh no, you can't do that. Yeah.
No, you pulled up the wrong source.
So before I do like any more research over here, you're gonna have to prove that she took top secret classified documents home.
Dude, I'm not gonna play your little riddle games, man.
Are you trolling?
I'm not playing your riddle games.
You think that me asking you for evidence for your claim is a quote unquote riddle game?
No, you go back and forth.
What? Wait,
you
one
go
second.
Back and forth,
one second. Okay, you shouldn't support Trump because he's like raped 10 young girls.
Oh my gosh. See, and here's the best part is that I got this live recorded. I got this. I don't support Trump for that. Okay. See, I don't support Trump. All his allegations, I don't support that guy. The only reason why I voted for Trump was for the sake of this economy, for the sake of the American people.
Wait. Slow down 1 second. I said that to attempt to use your own logic against you. I was expecting you to say, Dean, he hasn't raped 10 young girls. Prove it. And then I was going to say, I'm not going to play your quote-unquote riddle games. I don't need to prove it in order to have a valid argument. And then I was going to make you understand and realize how your logic is incorrect by applying your logic against you. But instead, oh my God, instead, your response was, well, I still support Trump. You might be right. Maybe he has raped 10 young girls, but I don't support him for that reason. You're fucking insane.
No, it's more of like, I don't know what's true, what's fake.
I know. Vesna, thank you so much for the $50 over on PayPal. Yes, because I'm taking a couple downers here real quick. Vesna with the $50 over on PayPal. Show some love to Vesna down below in that chat for the $50. Vesna with a $50 says, can you please let this absolute idiot know that the Chinese air balloons flew over the U.S. 3 times while Trump was president in his first term, but they didn't reveal that until later? Thank you. Oh my God. Do you want to go ahead and respond to that, Vesna? Sorry, not Vesna. Thank you for the $50. Do you want to go ahead and respond to that, Mr. Guest?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that if they were to shoot it down, they're depending on the projectiles or the debris that would be falling down, it could be falling into a populated area. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a scientist and all that fancy stuff. No. And by the way, just to reiterate of what I was going for.
By the way, I just want to clarify this. I actually
I'm
did
still
just look it
talking,
up.
Dean.
I'm
still talking.
I'm interrupting you. I just want to clarify this. So I just looked it up. Not only is there no evidence of Kamala Harris. Yeah, okay, wait. No, I'm not going to mute you. I'm not going to mute you. Swear to God.
No, you interrupted me.
Don't run away. Don't run away, little boy.
Oh my gosh, now you got to talk like you're talking to a child. Oh my gosh. So
what I was saying, and I'm going to let you speak because I really don't want you to leave. I want you to help me finish out this conversation. No more mutes, no more interruptions.
I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. But
so you are going to run. You're going to run. Okay.
Sorry, big man.
Okay, see you later.
Sorry.
See you later, soccer. Go ahead. By the way, there's not only no evidence of Kamala Harris taking classified documents home, but there's also not even an allegation of it. There's no claims of it. Nobody even claims that. You're the first person that has ever claimed that. You made that up on the spot in your fucking brain. That's why you're not going to turn around and try to find any evidence for it. Because you literally made it up. Not only is there no evidence occurring, there's not even a claim.
If I get the source, can you get on your knees and say, you were right, Running Deers, you were right. If I get the source and I come back on this live, can you please aim that camera down and get on your knees and say, you were right, Running Deers?
Well, definitely a little bit of a weird request.
You're going to be able to do that, big man? You're going to be able to do that, big man? Come on.
This is getting a little bit weird, man.
No. You said I'm a little boy.
This is getting a little weird, dude.
You started it. You said little boy.
Do not compare me calling you... Don't compare me calling you little boy.
Hey, you said little. That's weird, man.
With all due respect... Don't compare me calling you little boy to you saying something sexual.
Little boys are on your mind or something, Dean.
Now you're making it even weirder. I called you a little boy because you have the maturity of one.
No.
You're the only one bringing in like sexualization of children.
You got TDS, man. TDS is in that bloodstream of yours.
the one that is not sexualizing children is one with TDS.
You had little. Oh, that's all recorded too, man. Oh, that's gonna be popular. That's gonna be popping on TikTok in a few fucking hours. Oh my gosh, Dean's talking about little boys, little man. Why is he thinking about little ones? Why is he? Man, you're so fucking. And hey, how's that therapy stick going for you? By the way,
So I could tell you why little boys are on my mind. It's because you're acting like one. So of course you're gonna.
No, man. That's kind of strange to just pop out and just say that. That's kind of weird, man. You got a weird train of thought.
Well, it's not my fault. I think it's not my fault that you're acting like a 12-year-old.
Hey, I think that therapy stick is not helping you.
It's an anxiety pin. But listen,
An anxiety
the
pin.
reason why I called you little boy is because you're acting like one. Also, by the way, the secondhand embarrassment is like so real.
I'm just trolling you now. That's the funniest part is that you're an idiot and you don't realize that.
Sir, the only idiot here is you. You're the one that made a claim with no
out
evidence.
there for
Yeah, you're the one that made a claim with no evidence. You're the one that said the biggest issue with the Biden-Harris administration is the fact that there's a Chinese hot air balloon going over U.S. airspace, even though we also saw like a Chinese hot air balloon go over U.S. airspace 3 times in Donald Trump's first term.
He's gonna
You're
go
the
on
one that said that EBTs are just like EBT is just so incredibly bad and food stamps are terrible, right? And then when I gave you a counter argument to prove you wrong, you literally conceded, saying, "Dean, you are intelligent. Dean, you won that debate." The only reason why you're calling me an idiot now is because you got pissed that I called you out for attempting to compare me calling you a little boy
man.
to you like sexualizing me, telling me to get on my knees and ask for forgiveness. Okay, listen, I understand that when humans get upset because they're proven wrong, they like to get big, angry, and like crash out, especially like younger men that support Trump as president. But like, I think my request of you is just to calm down a little bit. It's going to be okay, right? You just need to realize that you're wrong and that I'm right.
Can I say something? Because I know your moderators are, you're moderate, you know.
Yeah, just for sure, just make sure you stay on topic.
Gotcha. Okay, so you said Trump supporters are like big mad, right? They start yelling or whatever, right?
Yeah, big mad.
So then when you, yeah. Now, you sure that you haven't too?
Have I ever yelled on stream? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Just because Trump supporters are big mad doesn't mean non-Trump supporters can't be big mad.
You can tell your moderators not to mute me.
That's me, buddy. I'm doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah, you can stop muting me.
I'm doing it for the love of the game, my friend.
Oh, so you know I was trolling you, so now you're gonna troll my ass.
You got it. First true thing you've said all day.
Hey, let's just keep it real, man. You brought the word little up first.
Yes, I called you a little boy because you're acting like one. How many times do you want me to re-describe that? I don't know. Anyways, all right. Wild guess. Wow. Okay, dude, it is 10 a.m. and I'm already like, what the fuck is going on? Woo! Okay, listen, folks. For the 11.3 thousand people hanging out with us on TikTok, I just got a violation for like hate speech against that guy. I don't know what I said to him. I guess I was a little too mean at some point. I don't know what point that was, but I guess I was. So we do have to restart the TikTok live, unfortunately. Now, we don't have to restart the YouTube live, only the TikTok live. But we're going to go ahead and do that right now. So I want every single person hanging out with us on TikTok to go ahead and hit that follow button. That is going to be the easiest way to find the live again after we restart. By the way, the restarts only take 5 seconds. I understand it's a little bit inconvenient to come back in after a restart, but if you hear my voice right now and you're hanging out with us on TikTok, you should definitely come back because guess what? We have another 3 hours of whatever that shit is, okay? Right? So it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day, quite frankly. So that's right. I'm going to go to restart the live right now. The easiest way to come back after the restart, in fact, I'll just show you guys because I hate that we have to do this. It's just for TikTok, unfortunately. I want to keep the account safe. I hate that we have to do this. The easiest way to come back in after the restart is once the live ends, you will see this pop up on your phone screen. It'll say live has ended, and then it will show you my profile picture. Once this pops up on your phone screen, click my profile picture in the middle of the screen there. It is then going to direct you to my account page. I want you to count to 10, like literally count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Scroll down on my videos to refresh my page, and then you will see a new red glowing live orb around my profile picture. Click into that, and you'll be on the new live. These restarts only take 10 seconds. I'm going to start counting down from 10 right now. By the time we hit 1, I'll be back on. See you guys super duper soon. 10, 9, 8. Okay, we're going to end now. 7.
My chat. This is Buckeye Nation, buddy.
Welcome to my life.
Stephanie, thank you for the follow. Strawberry Moo, you're November too?
In a everybody. Sorry. I just had to go turn my AC on because it's getting fucking hot, dude. Holy cow. Yo, listen, for everybody tuning back in, I want y'all to show some love to Edward down below in that comment section right now for the $100 super chat over on YouTube. What the fuck, Edward? That is insane. Thank you so much for your kindness. Everyone, I want to see some W Edward spam down below in that chat. Thank you so much for the love, man. Edward with $100 says, dictator rule number 1, keep people hungry. They will be more concerned about food than overthrowing the government. And now 41 million people are losing food stamps. Listen, Ed, you were the fucking man, and you were dead on. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the hell out of you. And that is so much. That is literally so much money. I really appreciate you for your kindness. While we're looking for this first Trump supporter of the restart over on TikTok, please show some love to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Edward, down below in that comment section while we're looking for that next Trump supporter. Thank you so much, man. Hello, do you support Trump?
No, I don't. I'm a really big fan of.
Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much. But we are just looking for Trump supporters. Moving on to Kobe. Show some love to Edward, as well as chat. Show some love to Dr. Sweets with a 10-year-old with a $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, who says, "Please don't compare this dummy to 12-year-olds. They don't act this dumb." Yeah, maybe I was a little bit too disrespectful to the children. As well as Rabart. Thank you so much for the $10 on Super Chat, who says the last caller was insufferable. We all appreciate your patience. Listen, man, I have developed a nasty level of patience with trolls like that last guy. Okay, I know how to handle it, and it took me a couple years to get there. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, as of right now I do, but I have a question. Like,
How old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born in?
2007.
Okay.
August 3rd.
I'm going to go to thank a couple people here, and then I'll pass you the mic. Real quick, just before I pass you the mic, let me thank Corinne. Thank you so much for the $30 over on PayPal. Corinne, thank you so much for the love. That is Corinne. Corinne with the $30. Thank you so much once again. Says, seriously, thank you for everything that you do. Sincerely, an Australian. Shout out to you. Shout out to Australia. Thank you for the $30. Thank you so much, Corinne. Show some love to Corinne down below. As well as Taya, thank you for the 2. And Aaron, thank you for the 5, saying love from Ireland on your life every day. Love back to you. Thank you so much for the love, Aaron. And then one more here, Danielle. Thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal, who says, every time you start a live, I say my show is on. And I always know at some point I'll be saying, get on his ass, Dean. Keep on doing what you do. Danielle, that is fucking awesome. Good to see you. Good to have you in here. Show some love to Danielle down below in that chat, folks, for the $20 and the incredibly kind message. And then just 2 more people here. Then I'm going to pass Kobe the mic. Anna, thank you so much for the $15 on PayPal. Anna says, people are so bad at understanding how quote-unquote well they do in the debates against you. It's ridiculous. Dude, it's embarrassing. That's what it is. Appreciate you so much for the $15, Anna. And then Taylor with the $10. Let's get 100 Taylor W's down below. Says, good morning, Dean. Always a pleasure to listen to your lives while I'm at work. Good morning to yourself as well, Taylor. Thank you for the $10 and appreciate you for being here. Go ahead. Tell us why you support Trump, Kobe.
All right. So obviously this is my first time voting. This is coming up next vote, and it's just really what I grew up around, and I just want to know like what you think would be like my best bet for this upcoming vote, like what I should do and how I should go about it.
Well, I mean, I think that the purpose of these lives are just trying to convince people not to support Trump. Now, the closer we get to midterms, the closer we get to the next general, that's when we'll also kind of introduce, well, here's who you should vote for, from my perspective and why. But for right now, right, we're just sincerely focused around why people don't support Trump as president. And if you're more so coming up here to ask reasons why you shouldn't support Trump as president, I could direct you towards a great resource for that.
All right. And then I got another question. Like, the one thing I don't support about Trump is like, isn't like something about the immigration, like trying to get the Mexicans and stuff out of there? Isn't that what he's trying to do or something like that? I'm not for sure. Like I said, I'm not educated at all.
Well, he wants to do mass deportation of all undocumented immigrants. If you're saying that you disagree with that, that's good. I'm happy you disagree with that.
No, I'm saying that because like I know a lot of people and I work with like Mexicans and stuff like that. I'm just saying Mexicans because that's what I know.
Have you heard that? Have you heard that at work? Like some like crazy Trump supporter being like, he's going to deport all the Mexicans.
Well, no, I just hear that like out in the world and stuff like that. But my thing about that is I think it's crazy because people like that, like I work with a Mexican. He's talking about like how it's bad back to Mexico. He likes it here and stuff like that. He don't like the ICE situation. Like he's scared of ICE. And I just think it's kind of crazy because I think they should stay here if they're trying to make a living for their life and their family. I don't think they should get sent back just because of who they are. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
You got the right idea, okay? So not all undocumented immigrants are Mexicans, right? But like, you got the right idea. I gotta give you a W for that. I really do. Yes, Kobe, you got the right idea. Fuck yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you would like to like acknowledge me about? Because like I said, I'm 18. I try not to get involved in that because throughout high
Listen, man.
school,
Listen, man.
that's what they would base your friend group off of, is who you support. And I think it's crazy because why would you do that if you can't even vote yet? You know what I mean? Like you got 16, 17.
I remember that. I remember a little bit of that myself in high school. No, you're right, man. Listen, man, I'm going to move on to the next guest because we're looking to talk to some people that do support Trump that think they have an argument. But I just, Kobe, it sounds like, you're from the South. You have a Southern accent. I know that there's a lot of Trump supporters down there. You're telling us that you worked with quite a few. I got to say, for being, I think you said an 18-year-old young man in the South, right, around only Republicans, you're on the right path. Keep on watching the live, man. Keep on doing your research. I'm kind of proud of you.
I appreciate it. Hey, praise the Lord.
Yeah, man. Dude. Wow. Yeah. I got to say, he's on the right path. On the right path. Really rare to see that from, like an 18-year-old man down south. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. Guys, go ahead and hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. We'll happily bring you up for a conversation. We have a couple people to thank over on Vimeo. I want to make sure to show y'all some love. But before we do, let's go to get that next guest loaded up into the box right now. This guy's name is Neo-Libertarian Phalangist? Something like that? I don't know. This guy kind of looks a little crazy. We're going to go to load him up. Well, we're also going to go to load Emily up. Yo, Vicky... Dude, thank you so much for the $25 donation over on Venmo, saying bravo. Thank you so much for your kindness, Nikki. Yo, for everybody watching, show some love to Nikki down below in that chat for the $25. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you for the love. Thank you, everyone, so much for all the love this morning. If you're watching and you want to support me, you could actually find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio on TikTok and in the pin message of the YouTube stream. But I want to see 250 Nikki W's. Actually, not Nikki, sorry, Vicky. Vicky W's, not Nikki. Thank you so much, Vicky. All right. We're going to try to get Emily loaded up in here. Doesn't look like Emily's loading in. We'll try to load up Jolly. And I think that there's an issue with my phone. I'm going to restart TikTok on my phone because it's like not loading guests in for whatever reason. And the first person that popped up on my For You page is fucking Kai Trump. Bro, what are you doing there? Get out of there. Get out of my For You page, Kai Trump. All right. Sounds good. We're going to try to get that next guest loaded up here right now, folks. Go ahead and put a me with your age down below in that comment section if you are an American adult that supports Trump as president and you'd like to come up here and have a conversation. Something weird is going on with the stream right now. It's not letting me load people up. Maybe I need to try to load people up from the computer? Yeah, okay. I just can't load people up from my phone for whatever reason. But I can load people up from the computer. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the next guest. We got Joshy loading up right now. We got Caleb loading up right now. We got Connor loading up right now. We're going to try to get that next debate underway. None of them connected. That's weird. That's really weird. That's really strange. Okay. All right. Let me try this with my account. I have an account here on my phone. I'm pretty sure that we're experiencing a live glitch. Try with one more person. Okay, it actually, yeah, it just looks like we're experiencing a live glitch right now. Here's what we're going to do, folks. It's going to say that I'm going on pause for like 3 seconds. It's because I'm forced closing and restarting the TikTok studio software. Don't leave. It'll just say that I'm on pause. Don't worry. I'll just be right back. We got to do that in order to hopefully fix the live glitch. BRB. Hopefully fix the live glitch. BRB. All right, we experienced, a little bit of a frame drop right there because I had to restart my TOS. Sorry, not my TOS. I had to restart my TikTok. Let's see if that fixes it. Let's see if that fixes it, folks. Wait, wait, did I just lose live guest access? I think I may have lost guest access. Let's check. You've been suspended for going live? Because of a violation? Yeah, I did. Okay, I got it taken away. It'll be restored on the second. Next. Okay, let me watch the clip. I'm going to put myself on mute so I don't get another guest live violation thing. Let me watch it on mute real quick. It's not even playing. Oh. Yeah, I figured out what it is. Okay, all right. So here's what it is. Remember when that guy came up here and he said that he wanted to Charlie Kirk my ass? Apparently, TikTok is getting smart. So I didn't automatically remove him. Okay? I didn't automatically remove that guy. And what it led to was me losing my guest access, quite frankly. Let me... I automatically... Perfect. The appeal's in review. Awesome. Yeah, so what that led to is me automatically losing my live guest access, unfortunately. However, usually it does not let me appeal those bans, but we just did get that one successfully appealed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a quick Q&A while we're waiting that appeal to go through. Let me know down below in the TikTok chat and in the YouTube chat if you think that appeal is going to go through. I think it might. Just let me know down below. But yeah, so now apparently Charlie Kirk is a verb, right? Yeah, they're getting smart. They're getting smart. They're getting smart, right? They know what that means. Yes, it will. People are saying yes. Some people are saying no. I don't know where I sit. I think it could. Okay, I think it could. Okay, listen. So the thing is, when people come up here, and I'm fine with sharing this publicly. When people come up here, they say slurs, they say stuff like that. I'll Charlie Kirk your ass. Okay, if I immediately kick them, then I'm safe. The live is good. It doesn't affect us. Okay, but if I leave them up here, like I left that guy up here. I was like, bro, you're not Jeff T, buddy. You're not Jeff T. Like, calm down. You know, like I engaged in a conversation with him after he said he'd do that to me. So that like count as a violation on the live. But I've had somebody do that after screaming the N-word, right? Because I think I was like, bro, you're fucking gross. You're disgusting. I was like, you know, like, dude, you're like so gross. Like I tried to tell that to him instead of just automatically kicking them like a month ago. And we got our live access restricted and I appealed it and then I got it back. And he like came up here and he screamed the hard R. So I don't know. I think that there's a possibility we'll get that back. While we're waiting on that, I just want to go ahead and thank a couple people for their love. Eden. Oh my God, EDEN. Thank you so much for the $75 donation over on Venmo. Show some love to Eden down below in that chat. Holy shit, Eden. That is so much money. Thank you so much for your kindness. Eden with the 75 bucks says, Dean, you are amazing. You're putting my frustration with this country into words perfectly, and it's really comforting to know that I'm not the only person who feels this way about our current system. Love you. Keep doing what you are doing, Eden. That is so unbelievably kind of you. Thank you so much for your kindness. And I'm really happy. I'm really happy that the way that I word things, the things that I say, encapsulate how you feel. You know what? I hear that often, Eden, and it makes me happy to know that it helps bring a lot of people some level of peace in such a disheartening time. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate you for the $75, Eden. Chat, I want y'all to show some love to Eden down below. As well as Xena, thank you for the $1. As well as Anonymous, thank you for the $5 saying, don't say my name, but wanted to say white people are the largest ethnicity who are on food stamps. Yes, you are right. And then Caitlin, thank you for the $5 as well. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Do you only do requests through TikTok or do you call people too? Yeah, all the call-ins, all the requests are through TikTok, Caitlin. As well as Valerie, this came in 33 minutes ago. I really hope that you're still with us. Thank you for the $25 over on Venmo. Valerie says, great work, Dean. Also, if dads don't pay child support, then start second families. That creates chronic SNAP problems. Well, I appreciate you so much for the love, Valerie. Thank you so much for the $25. Show some love to Valerie down below. And then Bethany, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Guy, thank you for the $20 on Venmo, who says, keep it up, that ATM guy. Dude, Guy, I've seen a couple donations from you every single time you sign off by saying that ATM guy. What do you do for work, Guy? I'm very curious. And then Robert, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. Jared, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Emily, I think I already thanked you at the beginning of the stream, but I will thank you again. Thank you so much for the $25. Yeah, but if you want to get a message across to me, if you want to ask me a question, feel free to do so right now. Oh, here, we have a couple people over on PayPal. Jonathan, thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal. Jonathan says, my favorite cult leader, lol. I watch you, Parker, Kyle Kalinske regularly. Thank you for being a beacon of knowledge, empathy, truth, and rationality in a country full of ignorance. You've taught me so much, and I feel stronger than ever to take on the MAGA fascists. Keep it up. Thank you so much. As well as those are some good picks. Kyle Kalinske has some good shit out there. I don't know much about him, but I have seen some good shit. Thank you for the $20. As well as Emma, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal, who says, love you, Dean. Please take care of yourself because these people can be so exhausting and mentally draining. So be kind to yourself. Much love. Much love to you as well, Emma. Thank you so much for the $10. And then Marissa, thank you for the $10 saying thank you for all that you do, Dean. Thank you, Marissa. Liam, thank you for the $20 on PayPal, who says, much love from the north of England. My dad is right wing and you equip me to better debate is an absolute utter nonsense. Liam, listen, that is exactly what I want to do here. Okay. Thank you so much for the $20. You were awesome, Liam. Show some love to Liam. And then Brayley, thank you for the $10. Taylor, thank you for the $10 too. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. We are all caught up. By the way, if you're curious right now, we still have not heard back on that appeal. We're waiting to be able to regain our live guest access. Typically, those appeals go through in 10 minutes or less. We are 4 minutes in, so we should hear back in the next 6. Let's see here. Let's see. Morgan, thank you so much for the $5 saying fuck Steve. Haley, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Haley, who says, Dean, be careful in Boulder this weekend. We get crazy. Thank you for what you do. Oh, listen, I know how Boulder gets on Halloween weekend. Listen, I spent my freshman and sophomore year up there on Halloween weekend. That's why I'm going, Haley. Thank you for the $15. And then Grace with the $5. Appreciate you so much for the love. Lauren with the $5 says, good morning, Dean. Glad to be here. Happy to have you here. Thank you, Lauren. And then Marcella with the $5 says, my mom and I are both big fans of what you do. Keep up the good work, bro. Love it. Thank you, Marcella. Then Emma, thank you so much for the $1 saying, just curious why you don't really correct people that pronounce Miss Harris's name wrong anymore. So I do. I try to. Every single time that I hear somebody pronounce it wrong, I try to correct them. However, I wouldn't doubt that there's many scenarios where I literally just get lost in my mind because I'm overwhelmed by their fucking nonsense and I just don't consciously hear it and correct it, if that makes any sense. Let's see. Who else do we got here? I think we got a couple people on PayPal. Corinne, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. Thank you, Corinne. Corinne with the $20 says, I'm sending you some more love because my dad is a Trump supporter. Even though we are Aussie, it's like talking to a brick wall. Bro, why is your dad a Trump supporter? Fundamentally, what involvement does he have with American politics so much so to the extent that makes him bow the knee to a goddamn fascist like Trump? I will never get that. I will never, ever get that. And then Malin, thank you for the $5 saying love your streams. They also inform me and I laugh. Love listening to you on MAGA. Thank you, Malin. And then Monique, thank you so much for the $1 over on Venmo. Feel free if you have a question to attach it, folks. I'd love to try to answer it. And then Carla, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Holy shit, Carla. Listen, while we're waiting on this appeal to go through, show some fucking love to Carla down below in that comment section. Thank you so much for your kindness. Fuck yeah, Carla. Hell yeah. Thank you so much for the kindness. Let's show some love to Carla down below in that comment section for the $50. Hell yes. Huge shout out to you, Carla. And then Madeline, thank you for the 5 and Caleb with the 1. All right, folks. So the appeal came back. The appeal came back, guys. The appeal came back. Unfortunately, the appeal was rejected. The appeal was rejected. Oh no. We got a second account. We'll be fine. All right, let me finish thanking people, then we're going to head over to @DNC Dean. There we go. Done. Submit. Sounds good. All right, folks. I'm doing everything that I can to try to get my account back right now. So I just had to send off one ticket to TikTok. And then I'll follow up with another ticket later. And all right, folks, we are going to go ahead and head over to our backup account on TikTok. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, don't go anywhere. You are good where you are. Now, for everyone hanging out with us on TikTok, head over to @DNCDean. Okay, listen, I gotta say, out of all the times I could lose live access, right? The next 3 days are probably gonna be the best 3 days for it to happen. All right, folks? Because listen, I'm gonna be on the go, I'm gonna be traveling, I'm gonna be going places. So it works out. It works out all right. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and put it on screener now. So these are our rules. Just @DNCDean. Just look at the second line there. I'm just going to throw it in the middle of the rules. @DNCDean. Head over there. Head over there. I'll see you there shortly. @DNCDean. Right there, quite frankly. Quite frankly. See you guys there shortly.
I'm like, bro, that is not me, bro. I gotta cut that.
It's like the be tell on Twitter is not be him, please.
It's funny. All right. Welcome in, everybody, for everybody joining the stream, y'all. Make sure that we are double tapping away that phone screen hanging out with us over on TikTok. We are back on the backup account for the rest of the day. For everyone hanging out with us on YouTube, I appreciate you guys for being fucking troopers. I wish that we didn't have to deal with all these issues, but unfortunately, we do. All right. Unfortunately, we do. Let me thank a couple people here. Health Insurance, thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat on YouTube, saying, yo, Dina came over from a Parker Live at one point, live watching you explain what is really going on to these folks. You've given me some perspective on my own views, and I'd love to chat with you one of these days. Yeah, Helen, if you're MAGA, feel free to hop in that queue. I appreciate you so much for the $20, my man. As well as Yusuf, thank you so much for the $50. Oh my God. Thank you so much for the love, Yusuf. Yusuf with the $50 says, hey, Dean, love you from Kuwait. I wish we had 1% of your freedom of speech here. Keep it up, my friend. Yusuf, listen, man, I'm not familiar with Kuwait or the legislation surrounding speech, what you can and can't say. But listen, dude, I think that, freedom of speech, the ability to voice how you feel in these circumstances is just instrumental. It is so instrumental. And if you don't have that, man, I'm so fucking sorry. I couldn't imagine. Thank you so much for the $50. You are awesome, Yusuf. Show some love to Yusuf down below in that chat. Thank you. Now, for everybody tuning in on @DNCDean on TikTok, we have restarted the stream following the ban over on TikTok. I guess, yeah, like I said, good time for a ban to happen if they were to happen at all. So that's kind of cool because I'm going to be gone for the next couple days. But folks, let's go ahead and get that very first guest up here. So if you happen to be one of the very first 3,000 people hanging out with us on the new TikTok Live on @DNCDean, let's go ahead and hop in that queue. Go ahead and hop in that queue right now. Let's get that very first guest up of the day right now. We got our next guest loading in. Hey, what's up?
Hello, Dean. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Do you support Trump?
I support Trump. Yeah, I do.
I thought, but are you a libertarian?
I'm a neo-libertarian phalangist.
What is that?
All right, so what I believe in is I believe in a small government which protects conservative values. I'm economically left-wing, which means I believe the economy should be governed through voluntary syndicates and guilds. And I also consider myself a national syndicalist. So it's a combination between libertarian libertarianism, as well as phalangist thought.
What is phalangus?
Phalangism is a type of national syndicalist ideology that was very prominent.
Phalangus?
Phalangist. You can search it up.
Okay.
It was a type of authoritarian nationalist ideology.
Wait, authoritarian nationalist libertarian? Wait. Neo-libertarian authoritarian nationalist.
No, I'm not authoritarian. The ideology doesn't have authoritarianism. I removed the authoritarianism from phalangism and made it libertarian.
Wait, so you took an authoritarian ideology and you somehow made it libertarian?
Yes, and economically center-left.
Okay.
If you go on my profile...
Wait, economically central left? Wait, central left? Listen, I was gonna say
central left,
right?
like,
if you're like economically like far left, like you start kind of like crossing lines with the socialists and the communists, right? Then that makes sense. Then that'd be cohesive. But central left, or like liberalism, I don't think that libertarianism is compatible with liberalism.
Liberals are center right. What I mean by central left is I mean like a free market but based on like the workers, they don't necessarily control the means of productions, but they collaborate with the employers to run the means of productions. It's called yellow socialism, also known as yellow unionism.
Oh, okay. I mean, there's some intersects between some parts of libertarianism, socialism, and communism. Okay, but just total fucking mess. How about this?
Yeah.
Just give us one reason why you support Trump. We're gonna ignore your word salad.
I support Trump because he fits my ideology the most out of all the U.S. candidates.
How so?
Maybe Ron Paul fits it a bit more,
Wait, how so? How does Donald Trump fit the neo-libertarian phalangism, not authoritarianism, center-left leaning, not socialism, but yellow socialism in the sense of the workers not controlling the means of production, but maybe sort of kind of owning them,
and a bit of distributism,
and
a bit of
distribution. Yeah. So how does Donald Trump fit that? How does he pertain to this
Well,
ideology?
because
I use the word
Donald
pertain.
Trump-
That is also a big word. Okay, pertain. Okay, how does this pertain to the neo-libertarian phalangism?
Syncretic, Dean. The word is syncretic.
Get off.
Anyways, Dean.
Get off my line.
I think that
Get off my
Trump.
line. Leave.
No, Dean, please. I'm begging you. I wanted to debate you for so long, and I can finally just spread my ideology to the world and let people know about neo-libertarian phalangism. I want to start a movement, Dean. I swear, I'm not even kidding. I wrote a manifesto.
Didn't the
Dean.
phalangilists like fight a civil war in Spain against the workers?
No, they were pro-workers. They were national syndicalists. You can read
Wait,
about
you're saying
them.
that authoritarians are pro-worker?
Yeah, Dean. It's something called deferred position.
So that's what the Nazis wanted you to think, but it's not true.
No, Dean. The Nazis are stupid, Dean. The Nazis are just.
All right, but like weren't the Nazis like
losers.
authoritarians that wanted to convince the world that they were pro-workers by calling themselves National Socialists?
Yeah, that's true. They're basically a disgrace to the entire third position. They're just propagandizing on workers.
Okay, how about this? Just tell us one thing Trump has ever done that you're a fan of.
I liked how Trump cut expenses. He made America more expense-free.
Listen, all the big words just go straight out of the window. Now, all of a sudden, I just get to address blatant misinformation. So Donald Trump didn't cut expenses. And the last 10 months, our debt has gone up by $2 trillion. And he's already signed in over $5 trillion into debt-related spending over the course of the next 10 years. Donald Trump, okay, is significantly worse for our government expenditure, debt, and deficit compared to any Democrat we've seen in modern American history. He spent $8.6 trillion in his first term compared to the $4.6 trillion spent by Biden. And so far in the last 10 months, he's already spent $5 trillion with a big, beautiful bill and other miscellaneous policy.
All right, so my response to that would be I prefer Trump over Kamala because he more so fits the ideological spectrum.
Fits the ideological
neo-libertarian philangist.
Yeah, you're trolling. Get the fuck
Trump
off.
is a neo-libertarian philangist.
Get the fuck off my life. We're gonna go to move on to the next guest, dude. Fucking. Just gonna get that next guest loaded up in here, guys. Only hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump as president. All right, what's going on, Colin? You support Trump?
No.
No? All right. Base, bro. That's awesome. We're going to move on to the next guest, folks. Jesus Christ. By the way, guys, we're only going to be live for 3 hours. If you're curious where that puts us, we have around another hour and a half. We have another hour and a half left on the stream. And then I'm going to hit the road heading out to Boulder. Now, because we got that ban on the main account, I may not be live as much over the course of the next couple days while I am in Boulder, but I'll see what I could do. What's up? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
How old are you?
35.
35. Perfect. Can I get a big W Britain from you for the $5? No? Okay. W Britain for the $5. Thank you. Can I get a W?
No, actually, I wanted to talk about that Discord though, where you're betting on Charlie Kirk's life and you cried like a bitch on social media and tried to back out of it.
Oh Lord,
you're a piece of shit and a bigot. You're the same piece of shit, bigot, faggot boy that you tried to talk so much.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude! Holy shit! Wow, we went 0 to 100 real quick. Wow. Okay. All right. Listen, Joe, go take a breather. Go take a lap, then come back. All right. Go take a breather. Take a lap. Just take a lap. Take a lap, brother. Take a lap, brother. We're gonna go to move on to the next guest. All right. Holy shit. Holy cow. All right. Let's go and get that next guest loaded up into the box. All right. Hop inside of that queue if you happen to be MAGA. Oh, dude, Joe. He's back in the queue. All right. Joe, I'm going to need you to calm down, okay? First, don't fucking slur. That is so fucking disgusting. All right? That is so fucking disgusting. I'm going to bring you back for literally one purpose and one purpose only, Joe. And you're going to see what that purpose is. You're going to see what that purpose is. You're all going to see that purpose. And you're going to understand exactly why I'm bringing him back. Hey, Joe. No, you get the muzzle. You get the muzzle because you came up here and you started slurring.
Hey, fuck that. Drop me if I got a muzzle. Drop me, dog. I came up here to...
Sounds good, Joe. Moving on to the next guest. Moving on to Emily. Here we go. All right. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up into the box. Here we go. All right. All right. We got the next guest loaded up into the box right now, folks. What is going on, D-Sport Trump?
Can I talk to your parent, please?
Hello?
He just hit my car with the door.
I think Emily's dealing with her own issues. We're going to move on to the next guest. Hope all is well, Emily. Okay. All right. Wow. Hope you're... Emily, if you can hear me right now, which I'd assume you can. I kicked you because I don't want us to eavesdrop into that conversation. If you can hear us, I hope everything's okay. Hello, AJ.
Did you see the nuke plans Trump is doing?
Yeah, retesting nukes. I did. You've been up here about 1 billion times, though. It's the 20 Ohio bio. If you want to try to come up here again, you're going to have to change that bio because you've been up here like 5 times. You change your name and you change your profile picture every time you come up, but you do not change your bio. That is your grave mistake. Welcome into Sport Trump.
I hate niggers and I hate you, nigger.
Okay, and I hate your parents for raising you the way that you have. You sound about 12 years old. Your parents have failed, man. Holy shit. Who were that little boy's parents? They really failed. Hello, Gavin. Do you sport Trump?
Yeah,
How
a little
old
bit. I'm 18. I just turned 18 in June.
What year were you born in?
2007.
Okay. All right, we've been live for 11 minutes. We've had one Trump supporter drop the F slur, one Trump supporter, drop the hard R twice. Are you going to give us an argument for why he's a good president, or are you just going to reprove time and time again that there's no rational reason to support Trump as president, and the only reason why so many individuals align with him is because of their shared hatred?
No, I wanted to ask you a quick question, if that's all right.
I mean, are you here to debate?
Wait, are you pro-life?
No, I'm pro-choice.
Okay.
So why do you support Trump?
Well, I'm kind of on the fence about it, because, I don't know if, again, it's the right decision, because, again, I don't think either was, the best.
So how about this? Knowing everything they do now, if you're teleported back to November, who'd you vote for?
Well, we don't know what Kamala would have did once she was in office. You know what I mean?
Well, we did because she had a platform and policy that she ran on. So do you want to give an answer to the question, or should I just move on?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. You have a good rest of your day. Moving on to the next guest here, y'all. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you happen to be an American adult that supports Trump. I have a nice question for this guy. His name is White Crusader. Hey, sir, what was Jesus' race?
White.
You idiot.
Nigger.
Moving on to the next guest. And, of course, they spam the N-word, too. All right. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up in the box. Hello. Do you support Trump, Emily?
I love you, Dean.
Appreciate you for the love, Emily. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go to get the next guest loaded up into the box. We got V Lone loading up in. All right, guys. 12 minutes in. 4 Trump supporters down spamming slurs. What's up?
We all know it's a vape. We all know it's a vape.
It's an anxiety pin. Get out of here. Banned. Moving on to Chase Love. Here we go. All right, folks. Looking for that next guest. Just a bunch of children spamming slurs. Hello, do you support Trump?
I don't know.
Okay, then get out of the queue, guys. We're going to go ahead and switch the background here and put the rules on the phone screen just so it's clear to everybody exactly what we're doing. Only join if you're American, 18 plus MAGA, ready to debate. Why and how the hell do you still support Trump as president is the question being asked. Hopefully that will clear some things up. What is up, Kenny? Do you support Trump?
Yes, before you kick me, I'm not a squeaker. You kicked me last time before I could speak. I'm so sorry.
Squeaker. That's an old school word right there. That's an old school word right there. Holy shit, you're bringing me back to being 13 years old on Call of Duty. How old are you?
I am 20, October 9th, 2005.
Okay, and you're a polytheist and you support Trump as president. I never see that.
No, I don't, but I really quickly do want to ask a question, if you don't mind. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. However, we are going to be banning everybody that does not support Trump as president. So you take care. You take care. Katie, thank you so much for the $5 over on Venmo. And then Caitlin and Karani, thank you for the 3. And then Ali, thank you for the $5 on Venmo as well. If you're watching and you want to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. What's going on, Colonel Lingus? Do you support Trump as president?
Hey, Dean, I do.
And how old are you?
32.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on the 4 Trump supporters in the last 12 minutes that have came up here screaming slurs instead of giving an argument? What does this speak about the nature of the Trump presidency and his supporters?
I'm embarrassed by the other people that have joined.
Yeah. Go ahead and take it away and tell us why you support Trump.
Well, it's I guess, a complicated. I've supported both parties over the years. I think societies large as ours and others need kind of an ebb and a flow. I think that's why we have devolved into a 2-party system.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention to much of what you just said there. I was reading off a comment, but go ahead. We're just looking for a reason why you think that Trump is a good president for this country.
I think we needed a party that actually took a strong stance on immigration, illegal immigration.
Okay, like mass deportation and whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Here's my question to you. Can you name one single positive material outcome of mass deportation on this country?
I think it sets a precedent for certain job classes that citizens will slowly get back into. It's my theory that over the course of a generation, the more jobs are taken by or undercut in wages by illegal immigrants, you have less of the population that moves towards those jobs. So it takes another generation to motivate the next generation to get back into them.
Okay,
I don't like
so you're just saying that the benefit of mass deportation is the fact that it's going to help the job market out because undocumented immigrants are undercutting wages.
It's one, yes.
Okay. Well, first issue with that is you're right. Undocumented immigrants do get paid less on average. Do you know why?
No, I can't say that I do know why, other than just that's what contractors, if they can get away with it, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, if they could get away with it, it's what they're going to do. It has to do with bargaining power, right? So when you hold more bargaining power against your employer, right, your employer can't get away with paying you lower wages, okay? And undocumented immigrants have less bargaining power. Do you know why they have less bargaining power?
Can you explain?
Yes, it's because they don't have long-term survivability in the market. They could get deported tomorrow. Their employer could call ICE on them. Therefore, they're more likely to accept lower wages. Not to mention the fact, right, that they can't access federal social safety nets, nor can they access most state benefits in 40 of our 50 states. Okay, so when they're unemployed, right, when they don't have a job, well, they can't help rely on those social safety nets to help keep them fed with a roof over their head, right? So therefore, they need those benefits in order to survive, literally. So because of those two facts, they have less bargaining power on average compared to citizens, and that's why they accept lower wages on average, undercutting average wages in the market. Now, the way to fix this is to offer them a pathway to residency or citizenship. All of a sudden, you make them a resident, you make them a citizenship, you remove the threat of deportation, okay? They have long-term survivability in the market. They can access those social safety nets. Then they have more bargaining power, then they will not undercut wages. And this is a significantly better tool to use to fix this issue because unlike mass deportation, right, mass amnesty doesn't undercut our GDP by 1.1 through $1.7 trillion per year. Unlike mass deportation, mass amnesty doesn't undercut and reduce government revenue by $100 billion per year on the federal, state, and local level. Unlike mass deportation, mass amnesty doesn't forcefully expel 8.4 million of our laborers and 11 million of our consumers, reducing the productive capacities of American industries on American soil.
But is it fair to legal citizens that these folks can come in, undercut the wages, take the jobs?
Well, remember,
and kind of drive out the natural.
Mass amnesty does not undercut wages. It actually increases wages. And of course, mass amnesty is more fair than mass deportation to citizens, right? Pre-existing citizens, because mass deportation hurts pre-existing citizens. It hurts you. It hurts me. It hurts this country. And mass amnesty helps pre-existing citizens. It helps you. It helps me. It helps this country. It increases GDP growth, it increases real median wages, it increases government revenue, it increases the productivity and the prosperity of this country and its economy. Of course, right? Fairness can be found in policy that helps us all.
Yeah. And I don't appreciate the folks in the chat saying nobody is taking jobs. I think it's short-sighted.
You're not debating the chat, you're debating me.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not looking at this as like a short-term, what can we do? They're already here. I think it's about the shift in the culture for that workforce, people that work farms, people that work construction, those kind of jobs. As AI progresses, jobs that are not with your hands are going to be steadily replaced.
What exactly about my argument are you responding to right now? Because I don't feel like you're responding to it at all. Because remember, your original point was this bad because undocumented immigrants undercut jobs, right? Wages of jobs. Okay. Then I explained to you why they accept lower wages on average. Then I explained to you how we could actually fix that issue through mass amnesty. And then I explained to you how mass amnesty is incredibly better, significantly better than mass deportation, giving you specifics like how it undercuts GDP growth and how mass amnesty grows GDP, giving you specifics about how deportation undercuts government revenue and how mass amnesty grows government revenue. They're more likely to work over the table because they could claim those benefits and file for a tax return. And then you just started bringing up shit like AI, right? So how about you actually respond to me on my bone and my position?
I want to have a civil
against your
conversation
against
with
your
you.
position.
I'm not attacking you. I just want to have just a calm discussion with you, if that's okay.
I don't feel like I'm attacking you either. I'm just making my points clear. If you'd like to respond to them, please go ahead.
Oh, I don't think it sets a good precedent. I think that there's a lot of other negatives to just unchecked illegal migration. I think societies do have something called a carrying capacity. I mean, I think it's evidenced by our debt that maybe we've reached that long ago.
Undocumented immigrants help reduce the debt.
How so?
Because they pay taxes and they pay taxes and they take less in benefits. They're economically productive. They pay more than they take.
I've seen otherwise.
You haven't seen otherwise from a reputable source that does not include citizens as undocumented immigrants.
So you're saying that they don't cost the taxpayer more than they contribute?
Yes.
That's your stance.
That is what I'm saying, yes. I mean, as I already said, they can't claim federal benefits and they can only claim limited benefits in 10 over 50 states. On the federal level, the only money that they do get is maybe like a couple billion per year for like uninsured individuals in our emergency rooms. Then on the state level, they get like Medi-Cal in California, a couple benefits in Colorado, Illinois, right? But, every single argument and source that I've found to demonstrate that they take more than they pay in, right, like to include citizens as undocumented immigrants, right? They like to include, like, for instance, the educational expenses in public K through 12 schools in our country for the citizen children of undocumented immigrants born on American soil and the total cost of undocumented immigrants, completely forgoing that every child in American schools on American soil is taking money from the government because it generates a long-term ROI as it makes them higher skilled, but it's also just completely disingenuous in the fact that, well, they're not undocumented immigrants. They're citizens, right? And then when you account for those things, I think it's clear that they pay more in than they take, and I think it becomes even more clear that if we offer them a pathway to residency or citizenship, they'll only pay more in taxes since they'll get A, higher wages, and B, be more likely to work over the table because C, they could file for a tax return, meaning they would only become more economically productive. The only time our government has ever spent the hundreds of billions of dollars on undocumented immigrants every single year is now under the Trump administration, increasing the ICE budget by $156 billion and spending billions of dollars in the process to build places like Alligator Alcatraz, detention centers, the fuel for the planes to deport people to CCOT, the deal with El Salvador to house undocumented immigrants in CCOT, so on and so forth. Not to mention the opportunity cost of what we lose based upon the revenue produced and taxes expensed by the employers of undocumented immigrants when those undocumented immigrant employees inevitably generate them a profit that they then have to pay a share of to our government.
Yeah, but is any of this proven to work? Is this all still theory?
Everything
it's
that
all
I just,
nice on.
So, everything that I just said was a fact, right? I gave you the specific amount of funding delegated to ICE through the big
but
bill.
it's a lot of.
I gave you the specific GDP contributions, 1.1 through 1.7 trillion dollars per year. That's what the American Immigration Council tells us. I gave you the specific.
That's what a council tells you. That's what a study tells you. It's
exactly
not done
what
in practice yet,
what a study tells you about what
There's
is
studies
the case.
that can prove everything.
What are they studying? What are they studying?
There's
what are they studying?
Studies that
what
can
are they
prove
studying?
either side.
What are they studying?
You tell me.
Right? Yeah, they're studying their actual economic productivity. And if you think that there's a billion studies that could prove either side, give me a study that undocumented immigrants take more than they pay, all things considered, without including citizens as undocumented immigrants.
Okay. Can I move on to another point? Is that okay?
Well, I thought you said there's a billion studies that could prove anything.
Well, I'm sorry, we don't have time to go through a billion studies, and I don't actually have them ready.
Sounds like you're just backing off your claim. Sure, we can move on. If you concede, we can.
Okay. No, I just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Can you concede that
I just
point?
think it sets a. I think it sets a bad precedent just to allow millions of people to come in unchecked. I think it harms them too when you consider the coyote rackets that they use to get them here, the debt that the debt they have to those people, the criminals that bring them over.
You're saying it's like a bad thing to support undocumented entry.
A lot of people suffer when you allow unchecked illegal immigration.
So I actually agree, right? In the sense that it is a bad thing to say that undocumented entry is good, right? Because undocumented entry does hurt the immigrants in many scenarios. That's why we need to fix the legal means of entry to reduce the undocumented entry.
No, I agree with you.
The ultimate incentive, right, for undocumented entry into this country is the fact that the legal means of entry are unattainable and take 10 to 15 years, okay? But if we were to turn around, if we were to hyper-focus on those legal means of entry, make them significantly faster, make them attainable to anybody that wants them without prior violent offenses, pretty insane nonviolent criminal offenses, so on and so forth, then all of a sudden there's no incentive for undocumented entry. They come in the legal way. And that's why I personally advocate for massive immigration restructuring and reform in this country that does not only include mass amnesty for the undocumented immigrants that are already here because of the neglect that the legal means of entry have faced at the hands of people like Trump over the course of the last 10 years, but also to make the legal means of entry into this country significantly better to naturally disincentivize and almost eradicate undocumented entry as a whole. Now, that's my plan. Okay, but what is Trump doing? He's doing the opposite. He's not implementing any policy to make the legal means of entry into this country faster. He's not implementing any policy to effectively reduce undocumented entry in the long term. He's just violating the human and constitutional rights of the undocumented immigrants that are already in this country, illegally deporting them to be beaten, tortured, and CCOT, illegally blackbagging college students on the streets by plainclothes ICE agents and taking them to detention centers 1,000 miles away, right? Deporting Venezuelan immigrants to CCOT without due process, detaining legal immigrants like Mahmoud Khalil for 3 months in a detention center, so on and so forth. That is what is reducing undocumented entry by scaring it away because they know if they come into this country, then they might have their human and constitutional rights violated too.
Yeah, and I agree that legal migration should be made simpler. I do. I don't think it should take somebody 15 years to get citizenship if that's really what they want. And that's why at the beginning of the conversation, I think that it's an ebb and a flow and why we need both parties periodically. You kind of need a heavy hand.
What is this party doing right now that's good? Because if you say mass deportation, well, then I go back to my question, well, what's one way it benefits us?
Dean,
and then that's when you repeat
let
your
me finish.
claim
The
that they're,
last
like,
4
draining our
years,
economy.
20 million entered unchecked. Over 20 million. That's crazy.
So you support Donald Trump because you think that there's way too many undocumented immigrants that entered into this country underground.
Yeah, sometimes I think you need a bull in a china shop to course correct.
Okay, so course correct means to make the country better. To make things better. So once again, it goes back to the question.
I think it'll
what is
set
one
the
material
stage for
way
the
that
next
mass deportation makes things
democratic
better?
leadership.
What is one material way that mass deportation makes things better?
Well, it's setting a precedent to the coyotes and the gangs that have set up infrastructure in our country that they're not going to do so unchallenged.
Okay, so this is not a clear material way that makes this country better. Could you be more clear, be more specific?
How is that not a clear material way?
Because you're just kind of like saying vague things. It's a precedent to the coyotes.
It's not vague.
Okay? That's not that is incredibly vague.
Proof.
Okay, so like what is the
criminal
material
organizations that have set up infrastructure here, foreign criminal infrastructure
I'm
in
so
our
sorry.
country.
The only precedent that the Trump administration is setting for criminal organizations is that, well, you could actually be a criminal and you could run the organization of the United States of America, sir. He's a 34-count felon. He's an adjudicated rapist. He boasted about exploiting teens on Howard Stern's radio show. He's belligerently infringed on the Constitution over the course of the last 8 months.
The point of what
it
I'm
is saying,
talking
it's
about,
not besides the point, because what it is saying is that you could get away with crime in this country. What it is saying is that you could be a criminal and you could serve as our president. What it is saying is you could try to kill cops in the steps of the Capitol and smear shits on the wall, smear your shit on the wall inside, right? And then you'll be called a patriot and pardoned by the president.
Okay.
And by the way, crime goes up. Crime goes up with mass deportation too. Because what causes crime? A lot of it is caused by poverty. And poverty will go up with mass deportation because of its destabilizing effects on the American industries, such as the massive reduction in GDP by 1.1 through $1.7 trillion per year, via the loss in government revenue, so then we have less money to fund social safety nets for low-income Americans, and the destabilizing effect on the industries by reducing their productive outputs, by removing 11 million of their buyers and 8.4 million of their creators, their workers, their laborers.
Yeah, there's going to be some pain before there's growth.
But guess what? That pain makes crime go up, and you told me the material benefit of mass deportation would be crime going down.
Yeah, it's not instant, Dean. Things aren't instant.
Okay,
I know you grew up in the iPad generation.
Crime doesn't go down in the long term.
Gratification's not in the real world.
Well, nice. This is a nice shift to the goalposts.
Sometimes changes take generations.
Shifted the goalpost, my friend, because now you're saying that crime will
It's
go down.
not a shift. What am I shifting, Dean?
Yeah, because you went
What
from saying
goalpost am I
that-
shifting? I'm
because
telling you
the
reality.
goalpost that you're shifting is that crime will go down in the long term because of mass deportation, but that's also not true.
It sets a precedent, Dean. It
What-
sets a deterrence.
What precedent for deterring what specifically?
Deterring unchecked illegal immigration into our country that will be respected as a sovereign country, just like many other first world nations, that
Okay.
you can't just walk across the border, work with somebody to get a stolen social security card, get an ID, get a job, and just fly under the radar.
Okay, so I actually
We're
agree.
not an economic zone.
So-
We
so-
are a country.
So
I
actually
agree with you that there should be a faster legal process to legal immigration.
So I agree. I agree that Donald Trump's mass deportation sets a precedent that to like disincentivize undocumented entry. But I think that's a bad precedent because of the means in which he's using to construct it. Okay, right? If he's using like good policy to set this precedent to disincentivize undocumented entry by making the legal means more attainable, I'd give it a big thumbs up. But instead, the means that he's using to set this precedent is constitutional and human rights violations. I got to give that a big thumbs down because not only is it fascist, thereby immoral, but it's also short-term in the sense that when we have a president that's not fascist, that doesn't want to infringe on the human and constitutional rights of people just because they're undocumented, well, then that incentive structure and that president is going to reverse and go away.
Yeah, well, listen, Dean, policy, I think our court system, everything is the slowest thing that humans have ever created. I'm just at the thought that, you need a bull in a china shop. I know I said that before, but I think he's got 4 years to do something, and it's not going to be pretty. People aren't going to like it, but in my mind, it's something that needed to be done.
Okay, so then you're saying that you're okay with him like deporting people in violation of their constitutional right to due process because it needs to be done because the courts would take too long.
Well, yes, because the courts will take too long, Dean, because the rate of replacement would be greater than the rate of deportation if we were to follow everything by the court, the process, the book. It just doesn't work fast enough. The rate of replacement is greater.
Okay.
It just is.
So you said that bringing the fist down hard on like crime, on the misdemeanor of undocumented entry, sets the precedent to disincentivize crime. So then you supporting the Trump administration infringing on the Constitution, the law of the land, the highest order of the law, what kind of precedent does that set domestically for people in this country and leaders of this country in the future?
What kind of precedent does it set for future leaders of the country?
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
infringing on the Constitution and supporting infringing on the Constitution. What kind of precedent does that set if you think that bringing the fist down hard on crime in the sense of the misdemeanor of undocumented entry, if that disincentivizes it, well then of course infringing on the Constitution and supporting it will incentivize it. Why do you want to incentivize constitutional infringements? Why do you want to incentivize taking people's rights away? Why do you want to incentivize a consolidation of power to one man outside of three branches? And why do you want to incentivize having a president that doesn't want to play by the rules, but rather wants to be an all-powerful leader that makes the rules?
Can I ask you what constitutional right do illegal immigrants have to due process before deportation?
Yeah, for sure.
For my own education.
Yeah, for sure. The one offered under the first section of the 14th Amendment, when it says all people on American soil have a right to due process.
All people on American soil have a right to due process. Does that apply to illegal immigrants? Does it apply to people that entered illegally?
Yes, because they're people. And also because we have SCOTUS case law to adjudicate that. In 1989 in the Plyer v. Day court
So
case,
how is he doing it then?
how's he doing it? By breaking that law, by breaking that constitution. I mean, shit, we had a federal judge like straight up tell the Trump administration that he has probable cause of holding them in contempt for deporting a couple planes worth of Venezuelan undocumented immigrants to El Salvador without due process. After he ruled that he had to give them due process first. Broke the law,
So
broke the Constitution.
when was that document written, Dean? How long ago? What was the size of our population at that time? What was the culture?
The 14th Amendment was ratified in the American Constitution in 1868.
Okay. So, to my first point, when I first entered, I think societies, as they grow, the culture changes, and how do we continue to rely? I mean, it's the same Second Amendment argument.
But guess what? The interpretation of the
Let me finish my
Constitution.
point,
The
please.
interpretation of the Constitution hasn't. In 1898, in Plyer v. Doe, SCOTUS re-adjudicated that undocumented immigrants not only have due process, but have equal protections under the third section of the 14th Amendment, meaning that we also can't deny them other constitutional rights.
Okay. Well, Dean, don't Democrats also say that the Second Amendment shouldn't apply to the firearms that we have today because it was written at the time where you had manually loaded muskets?
I've personally never really heard a Democrat make that argument.
Okay.
I think
It's
think
okay if
more
you
so,
haven't.
I think that the more mainstream argument would be that like ARs, right, are not protected by the Second Amendment for like various
ARs, shotguns. I mean,
reasons,
there's
so
a
on and
billion
so
different
forth,
types of firearms.
right? But maybe if you want to go debate somebody that believes that and see how that conversation plays out as it would relate to your view, go have that conversation with somebody that's making that claim. Right? I personally don't make that claim because I think that there's significantly better arguments, okay? Because that's when you bring in like constitutional originalism and you could argue that, well, guess what? We don't have a right to freedom of speech on social media because when the drafters of the First Amendment were arguing that you should have free speech, they were referencing pen on parchment paper, right? So, I mean, I think in making that argument, right, you open up a lot of like doors to like potential like twisted outcomes, so on and so forth. I just think there's significantly better arguments in order to instantiate a similar or identical position, right? So if you want to go have that conversation, go have that conversation with somebody that is making that specific claim.
Okay. I mean, I'm just putting forth, I think that the Constitution is outdated. That's my opinion.
So you just want to get rid of the Constitution?
No, I don't want to get rid of it. We can modify it. We can amend it.
Okay. Well, did Donald Trump amend it before he infringed on the due process of undocumented immigrants?
I don't know.
No,
I mean,
no,
he didn't.
No, he didn't. And then also, if you don't think that undocumented immigrants should have a right to due process on American soil, then through what process would we determine that they're undocumented?
What process would we determine that they're undocumented?
Yeah.
Do they have a social security number? Do they have a birth certificate showing they were born here?
Yeah.
Do they have any identifying information that shows that they
asking that question through the court of law would be due process.
Okay. Well, if they can't prove they're citizens.
Wait, prove to a court of law? Due process.
Okay.
Wait, so throughout the word prove to a court, throughout the word investigate for citizenship, because all those things are due process. How are we going to determine, right, that they're an undocumented immigrant if we're not giving them due process?
Well, Dean, I think in the grand scheme, in the bigger picture, I think a heavy hand has to be used here to course correct.
You're not answering my question.
Again, it's not going to be pretty.
No. It's not the heavy hand that needs to be course corrected. You're not answering my question because the question is, and I'll repeat it.
Okay.
I'll repeat it, quite frankly. Okay. Go ahead and give me means, a process that we can use to determine that an undocumented immigrant is an undocumented immigrant if we don't give them due process.
Well, I don't work for ICE. I don't know what process they use, Dean.
Okay. All right. So then you lose the point.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, it's still going to happen. It's still happening.
Right. So the argument just goes down to, well, I can't defend that it's good, but it's happening. Therefore, you suck. Here's a middle finger. Right? Yeah.
No,
my point is that it is
finger.
happening. We can't agree. We can't agree it's happening. And that's why I'm here on live discussing it with you. That's why I go live for 3 to 4 hours every single day. That's why I will continue to go live for 3 to 4 hours every single day.
And I think you
7 days a
should.
week.
And I support your right to do so.
And it's because it is happening. And I think it's wrong. And I honestly have never heard a single cogent rebuttal and or position to demonstrate otherwise. Every single time I have a dialogue about this subject or related subjects with individuals on this live, it always goes the same way. Okay? What is inevitably proven in every single circumstance is that there's no cogent defense of the Trump administration, their mass deportation, their violations of the law, their infringements on the Constitution, nor the policy harm and fascist rhetoric that they have directed to undocumented immigrants on this soil.
Dean, I think it sets a major deterrence. I think you've heard cogent arguments. I don't think you're willing to accept them.
Oh, no, I accept that it sets forth a major deterrence. Yes. Okay, when you infringe on people's human and constitutional rights, it deters more people like them to come into this country. And I'm talking about undocumented immigrants, okay? That's why we've seen such a fast and sharp reduction in undocumented entry. It's because the undocumented immigrants here are having their human and constitutional rights violated on. I don't think that the means justify the ends. I will never say that fascism is permissible in a circumstance because of the ends. Not to mention that those ends will go away once the fascism goes away. And hopefully that will go away in the next general election, sir. Because we're going to get Trump out of office. He's not going to run for a third term. We're going to throw J.D. Vance to the curb because he stood idly by when his superior, when his president was adjudicated to have raped a woman, found guilty of 34 felonies, infringed on the Constitution 4 times, right? And we're going to have a candidate that cares about the rule of law, cares about the Constitution, and cares about kicking that shit to the curb.
Can I ask you about the 34 felonies?
What do you want to know?
Weren't they 34 because they were 34 entries in a QuickBooks application? Weren't they upgraded from misdemeanors to felonies?
Not 34 entries in a QuickBooks application. Some of them were ledger
payments,
entries.
Weren't they? to his lawyer.
Some of them were ledger entries, some of them were signed checks. It was a mix.
Right, but don't you feel like the word felony here is being used a little loose?
No.
Kind of being used.
So stringently, right, what Donald Trump did, right, was a Class C felony in the state of New York. It's not being used loosely.
But when people say our president's a felon, I mean, it denotes a certain image that I don't think represents the actual crime.
Okay.
Can you agree there that it's kind of used as a bludgeon, a blanket term? I feel like people reach for the top shelf with words.
I mean,
just to have the biggest impact without any regard to its meaning.
Is the conclusion of your argument that I shouldn't call him a felon?
I think it's the way it's used. I think people don't even know that it's 34 entries in the ledger.
Is the conclusion of your argument that I shouldn't call him a felon?
I think it's stupid.
You think it's stupid to call him a felon?
Yeah, it's not a good point to make. It's not a good case because it's not like he's a felon because he shot up some.
Would you argue
place.
that it's stupid to say things that are true?
Well, it just depends on your motivation for using it. I think the motivation is stupid.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying it's not true.
So you don't
yeah,
think
on
that
the book,
saying
sure,
it,
they're felonies.
you don't think that's okay? Awesome. Yeah, no.
But I mean, you know where I'm coming from, right? Dean?
Listen,
You're a
here's what I'll
smart guy.
say. Here's what I'll say. His 34 felonies. Yeah, I don't really care about them too much. Okay. In contrast, right, to the fact that he went on Howard Stern's radio show and boasted about sexually exploiting either naked girls and or naked women. In contrast,
Howard Stern's disgusting, man.
Well, Howard Stern is disgusting, but remember, Trump is the one that boasted about sexually exploiting naked girls and or naked women.
Yeah, he's an 80s Wall Street guy. What do you expect?
Oh, okay.
That's just how they are.
So we shouldn't expect our president to not be a pervert. We shouldn't expect our president to not sexually exploit naked girls.
Oh, no, we should. Dean, I support what the party is doing. I may not support the man and his character. I never made that claim.
Would you still support Trump as president if you knew he'd raped a girl?
No, I would not.
Okay, so then why do you still support Trump as president even though you know he's like sexually exploited girls?
Is there convictions? Is there a conviction? Is there evidence that he has raped someone?
Yeah, it was found in the civil court, and then about him sexually exploiting
Wasn't he
girls
found
and or
liable
women.
or something?
And then about him
Like
sexually exploiting girls and or women. You're cutting me off here. He admitted to that.
He admitted to what?
Sexually exploiting naked girls and or naked women. Yes.
He admitted on record, on tape.
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
Okay. Well, again,
would you like to hear
I
it?
support what I support what the party is doing.
But no, the question is, you told us if you knew he had raped a girl, then you wouldn't support him as president. So then, how come you support him as president, even though you know he's like sexually exploited a girl and or naked women?
Well, Dean, sometimes you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
No sense. That made no sense, sir.
Okay.
Try again.
Okay. Sometimes you have to have someone in office that may be a little rough on the edges to get what important things done.
Yeah, but like sexually exploiting girls, it's not being like rough around the edges. That's being like a terrible, terrible pervert.
Well, Dean, I don't know what you're referring to, so I can't really speak on it.
How about we just go ahead and play it and then get your thoughts, okay?
That's okay. You don't have to play it. I'll take your word for it.
No, I think that we should play
do my own research.
Let's just go and listen to it together. So this is Trump on Howard Stern's radio show in August of 2005.
Hello with the vagina. And
well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
And then he also said rough around the edges. That's actually a documented fact, a documented thing that Germans in 1930s said about Hitler. That was a part of his campaign, right? Because they knew he was rough around the edges. So their argument was,
a Nazi now?
we just need to make Germany better, even if it means accepting somebody that's rough around the edges. No, I'm just giving you a documented fact of history. But do you want to go ahead and respond to that clip?
But it's telling that you brought up Germany and Hitler.
I mean, you just quote unquote said rough around the edges.
Said,
that was like a flagship campaign point of Hitler's support in the 1930s.
You could have said that was a bad description, but you said Germany and Hitler.
Because that was a flagship campaign point of his. Just saying. But anyways, do you want to respond to that clip?
Yeah, I think it's gross, Dean.
Okay. It is grist.
What do you want to say?
It is grist. Do you think that
I
like
s-
men that sexually exploit like girls and or women, right, look at them unconsensually while they're naked should go to jail?
Yes.
So
I
do you think Donald Trump should go to jail for that?
Sure.
Okay, so you think that he should be president from jail?
I think the party that's in charge should be in charge.
Okay, that's not what I asked
I don't
you.
think
though. I
we
asked
had.
if you
I don't
that he
think
should
we
be
had
president from
any
jail.
other.
That's
We
not
didn't
what I-
have any other
but
viable
But
candidates
that's not what I
to
asked you.
win.
I asked you if he should be president from jail.
I don't. Can you be president from jail? I don't even know if that's legal.
I'm not asking if you can. I'm asking you if you think he should, because you said you think he should be president, and you said that you think he should be in jail. Does this mean that therefore you think he should be president from jail?
I can't enforce the law, dude.
I'm not asking you to enforce the law. I'm asking for your thoughts on it. Do you think he should be president from jail?
No.
Okay.
No, I
so
don't think anyone should be president from jail.
Okay, so therefore, because you think he should go to jail, then you don't think he should be president, since you don't think he should be president from jail.
But he's not in jail, is he?
Okay, but the fact of the matter is, you said he should be.
Right, but he's not.
Okay, but you said he should be, right? Because
Okay.
you think he should be in jail, and you don't think he should be president from jail. Therefore, you don't think he should be president.
No, I actually agree with you. I actually thought Trump was a can I curse on here? I don't even know. Fucking idiot, a scumbag when he first ran. But again, I think the means justify the ends. We didn't have any other viable candidates.
Dude, so, okay, listen. How is the guy that has boasted about sexual exploitation, how is the guy that has raped a woman, how is the guy that you literally just said explicitly, I think he should be in jail for perving on naked children, more viable than Kamala Harris?
Well, because my stance was heavy on illegal immigration, crime in our major cities.
Crime! Funny you say that word. Take that word out of your mouth.
No.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to the next guest. Yeah, take that word out of your mouth. Let's go to get that next Trump supporter loaded up in here. Let's go to run some laps around somebody else here. All right, go ahead and hop in that queue if you happen to be a Trump supporter. Let's see here. Also, there's a lot of jets that came in there. It's very kind. It's very kind. All right, we're going to go to get that next Trump supporter loaded up here right now. Here we go. All right, Katie, thank you so much for the 24 pounds over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the love, Katie. I'm so sorry. Just give me a second. Yeah. A little bit of a story there, chat. A little bit of a story there. Katie with the 24 pounds says, "Hey, Dean, if you haven't seen it recently, I highly recommend the documentary, quote unquote, 4 Hours at the Capitol about January 6th. It has firsthand accounts from officers, Fanone, rioters, lawmakers, etc., and it's a good watch." Dude, I'm definitely going to be watching that. Thank you so much, Katie. What a good fucking recommendation. I'd love to hear from Officer Fanone. Thank you so much for the 24 euros. Thank you so much. As well as Tim. Thank you so much for the $10 over on Super Chat. Thank you so much, Tim. Hi, what's going on? Do you support Trump?
Trump fucking sucks.
Based alert. Based alert. Hell yeah, based alert. Let's fucking go. So real. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go, dude. As well as, yo, Carson. Thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. Carson didn't leave a message, only the love. Appreciate you for that love, Carson. What is going on? Do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, they're not here. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next guest. We got Dontavius loading up. While Dontavius is joining, I also want y'all to show some love, holy shit, to Samantha.
Yo, Dean, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can, man. Give me a second. Samantha with the $50 donation on PayPal. Samantha, thank you so much for your kindness. I want to see 500 Samantha W's down below. Samantha with the 50 big one says, "It has been a week, Dean. Please take this and treat you and your girlfriend to a nice night out. You deserve it." You know what, Samantha? Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you for the $50, because in fact, that is exactly what I'm going to do. The moment I end this live, I am throwing all my string gear in my backpack and my luggage, and we are going to Boulder for a couple days to hang out with friends, enjoy Halloween, and you know what? Because of you and all the other incredibly kind donors, I'm going to make sure I take her out to a very nice dinner at my favorite restaurant in Boulder. Thank you so much. As well as for everybody on YouTube. One second. We're just experiencing drop frames. There we go. We're reconnected. For everybody on YouTube, I know that's the second time the frames have dropped over there. I don't know why. I do apologize. Anyways, Dontavius, do you support Trump?
Yo, Dan, I'm playing Batman Arkham Origins. No, I don't. I love you. Good luck in Boulder.
Dude, appreciate you. Batman Arkham Origins is a fun ass game. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up into the box, folks. We got Alyssa tuning in. All right. Here we go. Hey, what's up? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
You are MAGA. Now, why is that?
So the biggest reason I support Trump is because of immigration.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we could talk about that more. I mean, we just had a little bit of a lengthy combo about it. Let's have another one. All right, take it away. Take it away.
Sorry, I just joined not too long.
No,
so I
let's
missed
do it. Let's do it. So what? You
Okay.
support his mass deportation?
So I do because I think okay. So a lot of our crime in America is caused by illegal immigrants. And
I got to stop you there. You're just wrong. So
Okay.
what percentage of violent crime in this country do you think is caused by undocumented immigrants?
So most of the okay, I'm going to try to put this in words. Sorry, I'm kind of stunned that you accepted my request. So I can't remember the girl's name. There's been multiple girls who have been raped and killed by groups of illegal immigrants in America. And I think that him deporting these immigrants just makes our country a lot better. But I also don't.
So in order to remove rapists from the country, you're going to make a rapist the ruler of the country.
He's deporting the illegals who have committed crime in America.
So you don't think if an undocumented immigrant is in America and they're rapists, they need to be out of America. But if there's a billionaire citizen in America that's a rapist, they need to run America. Is that not hypocritical?
Okay, I personally don't think that Trump is, if that's what you're getting at. But
that's the findings of a jury in a court. So you just said that you know of multiple women that have been raped by undocumented immigrants on American soil. That means that you know of a higher level of evidence for these outcomes, right, for these circumstances, than the findings of a court. So what would that evidence be? No clue. All right.
So,
no worries. No worries. I asked you another question. What percentage of violent crimes in American soil are committed by undocumented immigrants?
over half.
Girl, where the hell did you get that from? Alyssa,
Well, I don't know
Where
how
the
to
hell
put-
did you get that from? It's 1%, 1% of violent crimes in this country are committed by undocumented immigrants.
Okay, well, here's the thing.
92, no, one moment. 92% of violent crimes in American soil are committed by American men like Trump. And according to PNAS, undocumented immigrants are 2.5 times less likely to commit a violent crime in American soil compared to a citizen. They are 3 times less likely to commit property crimes on American soil compared to citizens, and 3.5 times less likely to commit petty crimes on American soil than American citizens. You like to fearmonger, right, us into attempting to believe, right, that undocumented immigrants are the devil. They are dangerous, they're violent, they're criminals, they're coming here to rape your wife, kidnap your children, and eat your family pets and dogs, because that is what the government wants us to think, to just simply ignore the fact that in the deportation of undocumented immigrants, they're rounding them up in terrible facilities like Alligator, Alcatraz, infringing on their constitutional rights to birthright citizenship, infringing on their constitutional rights to freedom of speech like Mahmoud Khalil, infringing on their constitutional rights to due process, and just to ignore it because you're painting them as the devil. Okay, but ma'am, we need to get this point across. They only commit 1% of violent crime. They're 2.5 times less likely to do so compared to citizens. Trump, on the other hand, is actually a violent criminal, as he was held civilly liable for the rape of E. Jean Carroll. And you made him president.
There was no evidence, though. It was just word against word.
Have you ever examined the facts of the court case?
No, but I watched the court or the.
So if you've never examined the facts
The
of the court case,
videos
how do you know
from-
there's no evidence?
Because didn't she say it happened like years ago?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, but there was no like rape kit or anything.
Yeah,
So technically
you're right.
there was no-
there wasn't a rape kit. Okay. Do you know that there's other ways to prove rape outside of a rape kit?
Okay, could you tell me how?
Yeah, for sure. Therapist notes from the 90s when she indicated to a therapist that she was raped by Donald Trump, and consistency between the testimony of the therapist notes, her own testimony, than the testimony of 7 others. Not to mention, she actually supplied the dress that she was raped in to the court, said it had Trump's DNA in it. They tested it for male DNA. They found male DNA. They turned around and they asked Trump to provide his DNA to test it against the DNA found in the dress. He said, no, 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 I'm not going to do it. Even if he did do it and he was innocent, it wouldn't have exonerated him and proved his guilt. It would have saved him $87 million, and it would have saved him millions of Americans criticizing him for it until this day. Not to mention the inconsistencies and lies within his own testimony, such as when he said that he had never even met E. Jean Carroll, which E. Jean Carroll then responded to with a picture of them together. He also said that he would never have raped E. Jean Carroll because she just simply wasn't his type, but then he confused a picture of E. Jean Carroll to be his ex-wife. Obviously, his ex-wife was his type. Not to mention his character and track record doing things that rapists would do, like saying you could grab a woman by the pussy, you don't even have to ask first. That's something a rapist would say. Going on Howard Stern boasting about walking into the dressing rooms of naked kids, naked women without asking first, unconsensually looking at them while they're naked for sexual gratification. That's something a rapist would say and do, all right? Hitting on a 10-year-old girl in 1993, saying he'd be dating her 10 years, that's something a rapist would say. All right, hitting on his own daughter, saying he'd be dating her if he wasn't his daughter, that's something a real fucking pervert would say. All right, being best friends with Epstein, definitely something a rapist would do. Sending Epstein a letter depicting the naked body of a woman with a statement, may every new day be another wonderful secret, here's to another year, happy birthday, Jeffrey. That's something a rapist would do. Okay, calling it an act of hostility to vote for the release of the Epstein files in Congress, and then delaying in the swearing in of Adelita Grahova, the final congresswoman that has pledged to be the last and final vote to force the release of the Epstein files through the House. That's something a rapist would do. And I could go on and on and on and on, right?
Okay. I'll give you that. But could we move back to immigration?
Oh, absolutely. We could absolutely
Please.
move wherever you want to. If you just don't think that you
Thank
could keep
you.
up that conversation anymore, feel free to move as you would like. Just know, right, that hopefully the fact that you don't have a response to what I just said proves to you that you are misinformed.
Okay. So I just want to understand the concept of you thinking that illegal immigration is okay. See, I'm totally fine if people come into the country legally. I have friends who are here legally, but it's illegal for a reason. So could you maybe help me understand why you think illegal immigration is okay?
So I don't actually. I don't know why you're strawmanning my view. I actually don't think that undocumented entry is okay, right? And that's why I support the proactive solution of making the legal means of entry into this country significantly faster and more attainable to disincentivize it. And I think that a lot of the fault for undocumented entry falls on the shoulders of our government for causing it, since they're the ones that neglected the legal means of entry into this country to intentionally cause more undocumented entry, to be able to fearmonger the immigrants, than run on fixing it every 2 and 4 years, than in all reality doing nothing.
So do you support the closed border for these immigrants to come in here legally?
Closed border? What do you mean by closed border?
Trump wants to close all the borders.
Yeah, close all the borders. I'm so sorry. This is just like a political thought of a third grader. No, the way that we fix the issue of undocumented entries, as I already said, by making the legal means of entry into this country more attainable. If we get to a point, right, where anybody who wants to come into this country, right, can do so legally, given that they don't have any prior violent offenses on their record, given that they don't have any pretty insane nonviolent criminal offenses on their records, then we could start having this conversation about really cracking down on undocumented entry, because at that point, the only undocumented entry that would remain would be undocumented entry of people that wouldn't qualify for the legal means, like prior felons, violent offenders, so on and so forth. But until that point, I just don't even think it's time to have that conversation. And by the way, Donald Trump's not closing the border either. What good policy has he passed to quote-unquote close the border in the last 10 months?
Well, his whole thing is moving on closing the border and mass deportations.
So then what good policy has he passed to do that?
Well, people are getting deported.
Okay, I'm not talking about the deportations. I asked you policy to close the border.
Okay.
No, can you name the policy?
I'm not sure. No, I can't.
My point.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I just wanted to come on here and debate you with that. I just want to say that despite our differences, my mom loves you and she watches you every day. So.
Wow. Awesome.
Yep.
You
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, talk to her about politics. Talk
Okay.
to her about politics. I feel like I feel like if you have a conversation with your mother about politics, appreciate you for the Jets, then I will I will be able to hopefully see you changing your mind, right? That'd be cool. Talk to your mom. Hell yeah. Yo, dude. Holy shit. One second. We're going to get the next Trump supporter up here right now, but real quick, fucking hell. It's not loading. Why is it not loading? There it goes. Caesar, thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat, my friend. Let's show some love to Caesar down below in that comment section. Caesar, right now your dono is just not loading, dude. I'm gonna have to just give it a second and let that load. I'm gonna happily read that off when it does load, but seriously, man, thank you so much for the $20. Huge shout out to Caesar. What's up, Rachel? Do you support Trump? Okay, I don't even think Rachel's here. You take care. You take care now. You take care. Guys, go to let me know down below in that comment section if you happen to be an American citizen that supports Trump as president. I'll happily get you loaded up in here. Happily get you loaded up in here, folks. Let's go to get that next guest loaded up here right now. Quite frankly, we got Adrenaline loading up. Let's fucking go. Yeah, the YouTube's acting all weird. I really want to be able to read out Caesar's message, but it's just like literally not even loading right now. Okay, moving on to the next guest. Here we go, folks. We're going to go to get that next guest loaded up here right now. We got Zombie Turtle connecting. There we go. Now it's loading. Caesar with the $20 says, I was a registered Republican. I watched your show every day, and I've literally changed my affiliation to Democrat. Keep speaking for those that cannot be heard, my friend. Fuck yes, Caesar. Dude, you and people like you are the reason why I do what I do. I just want to make this so fucking clear. I'm so proud of you, bro. I say this to everyone that sends a donation similar to yours. I do not want your $20. If anything, I should be the one giving you $20 because you're the real hero of the story. You are fucking fantastic, Caesar. Like, seriously, huge shout out to you. I'm so fucking proud. You are why I do what I do. Huge fucking shout out. As well as Sarah. Thank you for the $10 who says can't give you much, but you're fucking awesome. Keep doing what you do. You enlighten me every day, bro. Your intelligence is top par and you kill it every day. Thank you so much for your kind words, Sarah. Dude, I fucking love you guys. You guys are so kind. What's going on, Zombie Turtle? Do you support Trump?
Hi, Dean. Yeah, I do.
Okay, could I get a big W Peter from you?
A big W Peter?
Dude, for the $100 over on Venmo. Holy shit. Dude, Peter with $100 on Venmo says, have an excellent Halloween weekend. Be safe, party hard, and have a ton of fun. You deserve it. And as always, fuck MAGA. Dude, Mr. Peter, you know I love you. You know I do. You are literally always hanging out with us, showing the most love. Thank you so much for your kindness. I want everybody watching to show some love to Mr. Peter down below in that chat. Thank you so much for your kindness, bro. And once again, as always, so good to see you again. Thank you so much, Peter. As well, Sarah, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Show some love to Sarah as well. That is SARA. Sarah says, as a Christian, I'm so disappointed in the MAGA cult. They say they want to support him because he's a Christian when he's against everything we're supposed to believe. Love you, Dean. And I don't know how you debate them every day. Sarah, you are a true Christian. If God is real and heaven exists, then you are certainly going there. Appreciate you for the $25. As well as Brandy, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Sorry, PayPal, not Venmo. Saying, hey, Dean, I'm Canadian, but I watch you every day. Thank you for your hard work and your well thought out discussion on the issues that are facing all of us, not just Americans. Yes, no, these issues are facing so many people globally because that is the extent of the Trump administration, the impact that they can have. As well as one last one here, Kristen. Thank you so very much for the $50 over on PayPal. Christian, thank you so much for the love. Thank you for your kindness. Christian with a $50 says thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for your kindness. You were awesome, 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 awesome. Show some love to Christian down below in that chat. Thank you. Seriously, thank you, thank you, thank you. Zombie, have you been up here before?
I have not.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
Yeah, so I think the whole convicted felon thing, there can be a difference between personal and presidential activities. Whereas
the person is the president, so
yeah, exactly. But I think just because I do not agree with his moral compass or personality, but I think he is a good president.
Okay. Well, the role of the presidency is necessarily a role of public service, okay? Where you place the betterment of the people, your constituents, over yourself, all right? And Donald Trump is incapable of public service. He lacks the necessary virtues to care about others. The rape proves it. Many other things do too. Therefore, because he's only capable of self-service, he is incapable of being a good president. And I think he's made that point clear. You know, like he cares more about owning the liberals, right? Blaming the shutdown on them, trying to blame the fact that 41 million Americans are going to lose food stamps the day after tomorrow on them, compared to, I don't know, keeping the food stamps going with emergency funding, or giving a pledge to the states that if they cover the bill until the government shutdown is over, then he'll step in and reimburse them.
Yeah, well, do you think, like, if someone rapes someone, then for the rest of their life they're a terrible person?
Yes, I do.
So you don't believe that people can have a second chance and fix their mistake?
I think that when it comes to like rape, P3 so on and so forth, you don't do it in a moment of weakness. You don't do it as a mistake. You do it because you want to do it, and you do it because you lack the necessary moral virtues to hold you back. Okay? And in order for a combination of those two things to exist, the necessary virtues to hold you back and the desire to want to do it in the first place, I view you as an irredeemable individual.
So I could argue the same for trans people. If you think about it, look, they were mentally ill when they decided that they wanted to change genders.
I hate you.
And
I'm fine with saying that. No, just because you don't understand something doesn't make it as wrong as rape.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying that. I'm just comparing the two a little bit.
Yeah, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's comparable to rape. You understand, that's where like all the bigotry about trans individuals is rooted in. It's in you not understanding the trans existence, which is difficult too as a cis person. I understand that, I'm cis too. It's really hard for me to even conceptualize of like being gender fluid, for instance. I can't even understand that conceptually. I just don't even know what that means. Okay, right? It's also like difficult for me to conceptualize, right, existing as a trans individual, right? But predicated on education and how I have informed myself for the course of the last couple of years, I have an idea, right? But it is that lack of having information on the basis of what the trans experience is or what it means, right, that leads you to be so bigoted and prejudiced towards it. And that's derivative of evolution. You know, 50,000 years ago, this really served Homo sapiens sapiens, all right? 50,000 years ago, when you didn't understand the deep, dark cave, you wouldn't want to go into it because maybe there's a predator waiting to kill you, all right? And that's where that reaction came from. But today, right, in modern society, with no deep, dark caves with potential tigers hiding inside of them, the only way it really makes itself clear in mainstream, and the mainstream would be people like you looking at trans people, not understanding what that means, then comparing them to rapists.
You're right. That is my bad. Looking back in retrospect. See,
Right.
I'm not.
Right, and by the way, I also want to hit on this. Being trans is not a mental illness. Can you name one institution in medicine or science that says it is?
I can't, but I can. I know they're confused, but
You
otherwise,
can't name an institution in medicine or science that deems it as a mental illness.
you're right.
So the World Health Organization, the American Psychiatric Association, the Medical Health Association, the American Medical Health Association, the Endocrine Society, the British Psychological Society, the Royal College of Psychiatrics, the Canadian Psychological Association, the Australian Psychological Society, the European Society for Sexual Medicine, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Counseling Association, and the American Public Health Association all vehemently disagree with the conclusion that you have yielded. All right? The only people that do not disagree and rather agree with the conclusion that you've yielded are people that are not medical health professionals, are people that have not invested their time into researching and attempt to understand what it means to be trans, and just have had their minds swayed by what the person on Fox News tells you to think.
yeah, you're right there. I agree. I just can't comprehend it. Like you said, cis people, it's kind of hard for us to comprehend what they were doing there. But switching points back to Trump.
Actually, switching points back to one of your posts. You said that Democrats are terrorists.
Yeah, so
Republicans are Nazis. What is your response to that?
Republicans are Nazis. I don't believe that.
Wait, do you think
because
that's
as a Republican
Wait, do you
myself-
think that's okay for me to say? Like, I have like 4.6 million followers on my main TikTok account. If I was to go make a post saying that Republicans are Nazis, and then I was to go on MSNBC and repeat that, what would your response to that be?
My response would be that Republicans are not Nazis because the ideologies are very different.
Would you say it's like unfair for me to categorize every single Republican as a Nazi?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So then
And
why is it
look,
why is
that
it fair
post-
for you to classify every single Democrat as a domestic terrorist?
See that post? I was 17 years old, and it was right after Charlie Kirk. And
Are you still 17 today?
no, I am 18. I'm
When
18
was your
years old.
birthday?
October 10th.
Yeah, because this was like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
But it was after Charlie Kirk, and it was because of all the I knew the guy. I lived in Orem, Utah at the time, and the guy lived in my same dorm. Like Tyler Robinson, that was his name. I knew his roommate and all kinds of stuff. And it pisses me off because at that time people were saying that it was a Republican that did the killing. And but I knew him, and he had
even
very,
a Democrat saying that Tyler Robinson is a Republican doesn't make them a terrorist, though. Can we agree?
yes.
Okay.
I looked up the definition of domestic terrorist at the time, and it matched the description of the act, and so
Okay.
I just kind of posted.
Yeah, but is Tyler Robinson all Democrats?
No.
Okay, right. You know, because I could play that game too. Nick Fuentes
people were
voted for Trump. Had a
celebrating
dinner with him too at the White House. Nick Fuentes says he loves Hitler. Therefore, all people that support Trump love Hitler.
Yeah, but oh my gosh,
Like, you
I'm
know?
sorry about this post, but it was I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And then also, is Trump daddy?
What the hell do you mean by that?
Your third repost says, reminder, President Trump is daddy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he is. He's daddy. He's daddy.
Oh no. We're so fucked as a country. So you support Trump because trans people are mentally ill, Democrats are terrorists, and Trump is daddy.
I have strong stands on immigration too. Oh my gosh, dude. You caught me at the wrong points, dude. But that's fine. It was nice talking to you. I don't think I can take this any further.
Okay, you have a good one. You have a good one. We're
You
gonna
too.
go. We're gonna go on and move on to the next guest, dude. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh just jeez. Oh jeez. Jeez Louise, chat. Jeez Louise, you guys. Oh my God. You know, I'm happy that we're on the backup account, right? I'm happy that we only have, you know, like 6K people in here only, right? Jesus. Compared to like, you know, our usual viewership. That's a lot of people. And not too many people had to hear that shit and have their ears bleed. You know what I mean? Not too many ears had to bleed in the process of hearing that shit.
Dean Withers.
Hey, what's up, man? Give me a second here.
How's it
Emma.
going, man?
It's going all right. Emma, thank you so much for the $5 over on PayPal, who says get yourself something nice. Also, where are you going to be for Halloween? A magician. So I'm going to be a magician, and then my girlfriend is going to be a bunny rabbit. Get it? You know, like magician in the bunny rabbit. I don't know. It was a cute idea. It's a cute idea. And she looks very pretty. And I'm going to stop there. Whitney, thank you so much for the $3 on Venmo. And Pot, thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate you guys. If you're watching and you want to support me, you could find my Venmo and my PayPal on the link tree in my bio on TikTok, as well as you could find it in the pinned message over on my YouTube stream. I appreciate you guys so much for the love, as well as thank you so much for the $5 over on Super Chat. And Pearl, thank you for the $5 as well. Don, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Okay. All right. One second. I called my girlfriend pretty, and somebody in the YouTube chat saying, "Ew, Dean, not gonna lie. Listen. Preying on the downfall of a happy couple. All right. Listen. Anyways, go ahead. Tell us why you support Trump.
Yeah. So, I have a question for you, actually. Would you say that you have a cutoff for an abortion period? Like how many weeks?
Like a legal cutoff? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to say that I have like a legal cutoff for like elective lethal abortions at like 20 through 24 weeks. But I actually think that there's a lot of, and this has been a progression of my view in like the last year or so. I just don't know if imposing a legal cutoff at that point, right, is actually in the best interest of the betterment of society and women and girls. Because what happens when we have like legal cutoffs is then medical health professionals become scared to perform life-saving abortions when the life of the mother's on the line, right? And I think that introduces a very specific pragmatic complication that makes the introduction of legal cutoffs on abortion not as cut and dry. Right, but like morally speaking, my view is pretty cut and dry. All right, 20 through 24 weeks. That's when I believe, morally speaking, right, elective lethal abortions become morally wrong. Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But keep in mind that's only elective and lethal.
Yeah, I got you. So, in my point of view, I believe it should be 6 weeks, which is very, very, very short time frame, especially for Democrats. But the reason I believe so is because if you advocate for anything after 6 weeks, you're now advocating and almost supporting eugenics.
Define eugenics, then tell us why it is eugenics after 6 weeks, but it's not eugenics before 6 weeks.
Yeah, so for example, a blood test tells the gender of the baby at 6 weeks. 6 to 10 weeks is when a blood test can tell. So if you were to abort a baby, or I'm sorry, a fetus, if you were to abort a fetus based on the gender that you did not want, you can turn around and just constantly get an abortion every other month until you get your desired gender. So
I don't know. I've never heard about a blood test telling the gender of a fetus.
Yeah, so either way, you said 20 to 24 weeks. An ultrasound starts at 16. But either way, you can look it up. It's 6 to 10 weeks for blood test.
Non-invasive prenatal testing. It's an NIPD. It analyzes fetal DNA in the mother's blood for the presence or absence of the Y chromosome. If the Y chromosome is present, the baby is male. If it's absent, then it's female. Wow. Okay. I guess that there is a blood test that you could use to determine the gender of the fetus with the activation or inactivation of the SRY gene. So this says it can start as early as 6 to 7 weeks. So this is going to hinge on the activation or lack thereof of the SRY gene to make that chromosomal split between males and females. And that doesn't always happen at 6 to 7 weeks. It's like more typically like 10 or 12. But anyways, that point aside, I'll still respond to the meat on the bone here. Listen, if somebody, like a woman, for instance, is going to get an abortion, right, expressly and only for the intent that the fetus is, like, for instance, not the gender that they want it to be. Listen, I could look at that intent and I could disagree with that intent, but I don't think that intent bears any moral relevance on the actualization of her right to her bodily autonomy and the eviction of the morally invaluable fetus from her uterus. All right? So we're making a separation here between the intent and the outcome. The outcome, right, is, as I already said, a woman enacting on her right to bodily autonomy, a woman evicting that fetus from her womb, and that fetus not possessing any moral value because, under my view, it doesn't possess any moral value until 20 through 24 weeks with the presence of subjective experiences. But this does not mean, therefore, I can't reflect on maybe that woman's reason why she wants to get an abortion, being like the fetus isn't like the gender that she wants it to be, and kind of tilt my head and ask why. But I think that we can make a split and a difference between the intention and the action.
Sure. So what you're saying is, just so I can kind of I'm going to repeat it to you. So basically, you're saying that you disagree with the intent of doing that. However, you don't think it's people with that intention should be able to not do that just because other women deserve.
Because still, I don't think that intention makes the action morally wrong. I could give you an analogy here.
Sure, go
instead
for it.
of making this about gender, we'll make it about race, okay? So, imagine, an incredibly, racist, white supremacist firefighter, right? That lives in, an area that it's, 95% white, all right? And the only reason why they became a firefighter is because they are a racist white supremacist, and they want to save as much white lives as possible, and they don't want white lives to die in house fires. Okay, so this racist white supremacist that became a firefighter for this reasons goes and fights a fire at an apartment building. They go into one of the apartments and they save a 5-year-old little girl that's white. Okay, and in their mind, the only intention why they're doing so is because they're white and they're a fucking white supremacist. All right, But that actual action of saving that 5-year-old girl from the fire is that action in and of itself morally wrong? Would we say it was preferable for that 5-year-old girl to burn and die? No, right? And this shows a really good distinction where we can say isolating for the action of saving that girl from dying in the fire, that's not morally wrong. But the intention and the motivation and the reason insofar as why the firefighter saved that girl from the fire absolutely was morally wrong, completely atrocious, literal white supremacists.
Okay, so you're saying, I get you now. So you're saying that you don't believe the action of abortion is wrong. You believe so you wouldn't put a cap on abortions either. So like under that view, you could almost use abortion as a contraceptive because there's no moral value to the fetus.
Well, when you say contraceptive, are you just saying to prevent pregnancy?
Well, as in a contraceptive, I mean as in a backup plan of unwanted pregnancy. So you're saying
to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. Yes, women can use abortions to terminate unwanted pregnancies, and you haven't given a counter argument against it.
Yep. So you're saying, theoretically, under your view, you would rather women get abortions before they take a birth control pill, or before they get an IUD, or before the guy or the male wears a condom. I mean,
what? I think that the woman should have the choice and the ability to make that decision for herself. That's my view.
That's kind of an absurd view.
Yes. No, exactly. No, this is a great argument, sir. I love it. I've never heard a better view. Okay. When Dean explains why I don't think that fetuses are morally valuable, I go through the nuances of consciousness. I go through the nuances of subjective experiences. I tell you how those things can only form at 20 through 24 weeks with thymocortical connections. I go through the nuances of like how, right, in evicting, right, this morally invaluable fetus from the woman's womb, she's enacting upon her right to bodily autonomy, obviously concluding with the conclusion that therefore women have the right to access abortion, right? And then your counter argument is, absurd. You sound like an idiot. You sound like an idiot, sir.
I mean,
One
sure,
word
I
with
can
two
see.
with two syllables is not a cogent counter argument to my pro-choice perspective. You can't just say it's wrong because you don't like it. If you want to say it's wrong, then come with an argument. If you want to say it's wrong, then come with damn compelling reason.
So what you were just stating is that eugenics is okay because we should give mothers the choice to have an abortion. So,
okay, all right. Then back with the straw man. Don, dude, do you have a counter argument? Are you just going to keep straw man? Like, nobody buys this shit, okay? Like, you're not convincing anybody here with your emotionally loaded words to attempt to make an argument, not out of reason, fact, or logic, but rather your own fucking mind, okay? So what I want you to do is sit up. I want you to give a cogent rebuttal insofar as why you think that abortion is morally wrong. You already brought up the eugenics argument, getting an abortion because of like the gender of the fetus. I then made a distinction between the intention of the action. I brought in how this has no moral relevance on the action of getting the abortion, and then the intention in of itself would be something I would disagree with. And I even gave an analogy, sir. I gave an analogy, right, to the racist white supremacist firefighter only wanting to save lives because they're whites. Would this make the action of saving a 5-year-old white girl from a burning building wrong? No, it wouldn't. It'd just make the reason why he did that morally wrong. Okay, and then no response. You just say, oh, absurd. Oh, eugenics. Okay, like actually try to have a cogent argument with me, right? Give me one compelling reason why abortion should be banned.
okay, so going on with that analogy, it would almost be like you having the meaning. The fetus to you is like a building. Is like the firefighter saving that building. You don't find any value, any moral value in the fetus. So it would be like the firefighter saving the building.
Yeah, I don't.
That's another good thing.
So I don't find enough moral value in the fetus to give it the right to life. I thought I've made that one clear.
Okay, sure. All right. So moving on from that. Well, I'm not going to move on from it, but I'm going to give you a rebuttal.
I just want an argument insofar as why you're
What
pro-life.
species is the fetus in the womb?
What species? It's a human.
Okay, so it is a human.
That's right.
Therefore, it should be given human rights, just like illegal immigrants.
So no, I don't
Correct
think
or not?
the fetus should have the human right to life because I don't think it's morally valuable. I don't think that the right to life is dished out and given predicated upon your species, your chromosome, nor your life.
So you believe human rights?
What's that?
You believe human rights are gifted at birth? Or you believe 24 weeks? I mean, you have to tell me.
I've repeated this 3 times. I think that the fetus gets the moral right to life at around 24 weeks.
Okay, so that is your opinion. Okay.
I've repeated that 4 times, sir. This is getting really
Yes,
embarrassing.
but
and
you
annoying.
also stated that if you believe it's at 24 weeks, how are you still not putting a cap on the abortion?
Because of pragmatic concerns related to the life of the mother, which I still think is significantly more valuable than the life of the fetus, even when it is granted said human right to life at 24 weeks because of a higher level of rationale and the empirical outcomes that we see of medical health professionals feeling hesitant in performing life-saving abortions to save the life of the mother because of particular legislation surrounding that fact. I would say that these complications make it unclear to me what the solution is, and I'm not sure if banning abortion for elective lethal circumstances at that point is wrong. Right? Not to mention that there is no elective lethal abortions that happen in this country after that point, right? And after that point, because it's also after viability, if somebody does want an elective abortion, it's typically non-lethal in the sense that they get a C-section or induced labor. Now, do you have an argument insofar as why abortion should be banned?
I believe abortion should be banned because I put value in the life of a fetus. I don't know what else to say. It was fun talking to you.
And why do you give the fetus value?
I give the fetus value because it's a Homo sapien.
Okay, so you think that all Homo sapiens have value. So do you think
That's
that a branded patient has the right to life because it's a Homo sapien, it's a human, and it's biologically alive?
I do.
Okay, so therefore, do you think it's murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient?
No, because the patient. Okay, all right. Let me break this argument down for you here.
Yeah, feel free.
So,
also, by
yeah,
the way,
so the patient.
it's Homo sapien.
What did I say?
Homo.
Oh, my bad. Either way, so let's break it down, Dean. So, a brain dead patient has a legal guardian. They have signed their a piece of paper. It's called a what's it called? A power of attorney, I think it's called. Right? When someone can make decisions, life-changing decisions for you. They've signed that over to somebody, and that person would make the decision for them. So they've already legally signed over their life to this person. So if you are on the brain, or if you're brain dead and somebody's going to pull the plug, it has to be your power of attorney. It cannot be any other family member. Cannot tell them to pull the plug except for the power of attorney. Okay. So they've already relinquished their right to human rights by signing this paper. The fetus has not.
Chat, no, it's Homo. Listen, I'm going to argue that point to the grave. It's Homo sapien sapien. Listen, folks. Okay, I actually might be wrong. All right, I concede the point. Listen, chat, y'all just won your first debate against Dean. Now, back to you.
Was I right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think so.
That's a gotcha. I'm putting that on TikTok, Dean.
Yeah, give me a second. My frames are dropping over on YouTube. They're about to be back. There we go. And the frames are back. Welcome back. Sorry about that lag spike on YouTube. So now back to you, sir. Back to you. You said that, well, the reason why it's different is because you think that the brain dead patient has consented through like a DNR or like power of attorney over to the other individual. Well, it's not always the case. I think in that circumstance, you have a compelling argument. However, right, if I were to like become brain dead tomorrow, right, because I got into a bad car accident on my way to Boulder, nobody has power of attorney over me. All right. I don't have a DNR. So therefore, if I were to become brain dead and the doctor were to pull the plug on me with my family's wishes, would that be murder?
I don't think so. I believe it would be warranted there.
Okay, so then DNR, power of attorney, doesn't matter for your argument insofar as why you think it's not murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient, even though you said you give the right to life to any human that is biologically alive.
Yep. So the only reason, actually, I believe if you are under the age of, I think 32, at least here in South Carolina, if you don't have a power of attorney, it goes to one of your parents. If your mom's alive, it goes to your mom first and then your dad after. But I don't know how it is where you live. But I am going to say that no matter what happens, you have a power of attorney. You have someone
and the power of attorney is like your parents?
It has to be.
Okay, right. So is a fetus under the age of 32?
Oh, man, that's funny, dude.
Is a fetus under the age of 32?
It is under the age of 32.
Yeah. And who's that fetus's parent?
Oh, good job, Dean. Dude, I haven't had coffee, man. I walk into it.
I haven't had coffee either, dude. It's only noon for me. Okay, I haven't even had breakfast yet, motherfucker.
Yeah, but you got your anxiety stick, man.
Yeah, exactly. I've had nicotine for breakfast. Whoa, not nicotine. It's lavender and caramel. I've had lavender and caramel for breakfast. Okay, that's a bad excuse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely one of those things. I would support 6 week cutoff, but I know a lot of people don't know that they're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Right, I know you would. I'm sorry, you're just repeating yourself. Yo, a bot! Thank you so much for the 500 Norwegian dollars over on YouTube. Thank you so much for the love. A bot with a 500 Norwegian dollars says, we over here in Norway don't understand how Trump was elected. He is one of the worst presidents of U.S. history, and it is hilarious that MAGA thinks he is among the strong and putting the world together, and the fact that they think he is a clown. I love hearing perspectives from other countries about Trump because y'all always laugh at him and then you just like don't understand how anybody supports him. And I love you for that. Thank you so much for the 500 Norwegian dollars. You are awesome. I think that's around $50 USD. So that's a shit ton of money. Thank you so much. As well as Taylor, thank you so much for the $20 on Super Chat, who says, I found out the gender of my second baby with an early sneak peek online blood test at 7 weeks. However, no one is aborting over gender. Get a grip. Yeah, I don't really think anyone's doing that. I don't think anyone's doing that. As well as, like, typically also, the parent that's usually mad about the gender of the baby is the dad, not the mom. Kayla, thank you so much for the $50 as well over on Super Chat. Thank you so much for that love, Kayla. Kayla with the $50 says, keep up the good fight. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you so much, Kayla. That is awesome. Thank you so much for your kindness. Show some love to Kayla down below in that chat. Let's also go ahead and check over on PayPal and Venmo. Let's go ahead and take a quick sneak peek, my friends. Logging into PayPal. Tanya says, with the $10 says, I love listening to you. You clear up so much misinformation. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much. Emma with a 5. Thank you so much. And Tiana with a 1. Thank you. Thank you, you guys. You guys are awesome. And then also, taking a look on Venmo, Sophie, thank you for the $2 over on Venmo saying, why do you always say lavender and caramel? Do you mean lavender and caramel? I'm confused on your question. Lavender and caramel. Thank you for the $2. Ray, thank you so much for the $15 on Venmo saying, I love you and I'm sorry to say it, but it is indeed Homo sapien. Shit, first email. All right, first email. At least I could own it. And then Lexi with a $3 on Venmo, Jessica with a 1, Crystal with a 4, Lindsay with a 5, and Allie, thank you so much for the 10, and then Whitney with a 3. And then let's see here. Haley, thank you so much for the 1. Thank you so much, Haley. And then Andrew, thank you so much for the $25. Andrew, the $25 says, here's some money for your trip out to Boulder. Bro, Andrew, that is incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much, man. I will happily be spending that on the trip out to Boulder. Okay, listen, that's going to go towards the gas fund, quite frankly. Appreciate that, Andrew. All right, let's go to get that next guest loaded up into the box right now here, folks. By the way, folks, we only have around 20 minutes remaining on the stream until we hop off for the afternoon so I can head on out to Boulder. What's going on? Do you support Trump? Hello, hello. Do you support Trump?
Here it is, everyone. Here it is.
Do you support Trump?
So, Dean, we need to discuss worldviews. So,
do you support Trump?
When you say, do I support Trump? Yes, I do support Christian ideologies.
Then another one. How old are you?
I'm over 18. You know exactly who I am.
What year were you born in?
You know, I'm over 18, Dean. I'm not answering.
We just got to verify.
I don't give my age on TikTok. You know exactly who I am.
Okay, you're over 18?
So, Dean.
Okay.
Yes. Can you answer my question? Are you ready to engage in the debate?
All right. Sorry. My girlfriend was just asking me when we were leaving. All right. So you support Trump. So go ahead and take it away.
Y'all see, he wants to have an escape hatch because he doesn't want to debate me.
Buddy.
So Dean Withers.
Q-Top, calm down.
Are you ready?
1 second. We're going to just put you on a calm down real quick.
He's muting my mic.
I know.
Now he's muting my mic, everyone.
I am muting your mic.
Now
I'm doing that intentionally.
Go ahead.
Q-Top, I muted your mic intentionally. I'm putting you on a calm down. I'm putting you on timeout. Okay? Because what we're not going to do is confuse me leaving the Boulder for 3 days as Dean running from Q-Top. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way.
Let's get the substance. You're still running from me. You haven't engaged with me. You're still running. No, you see how he's just laughing?
Sorry. Now that we got that out of the way.
You see this?
Now that we got that out of the way, tell us why you support Trump, Q-Top.
Yeah, so Dean Withers, right now what we're doing is we're comparing worldviews. So I support Trump because the greatest good is the gospel being expanded, meaning that Jesus Christ is Lord. So when you interpret political facts from a non-Christian worldview, not only can you not ground any fact at all in your world, but you don't have a proper lens by which to actually interpret political data and political facts. So I would ask you, right, if you're focused on politics, are you focused on the greatest good for all of humanity?
Well, I want to investigate something that you just said there in the claim, because you said, if I'm not a Christian, right, that I don't have a proper lens to interpret things as facts. just help me get a better understanding of your view here. Okay, let's just
Yes.
talk about a couple things. Let's get a couple examples out of the way so we can all understand exactly what you're saying. Are you saying that because I'm not a Christian, right? When I see, like, for instance, Donald Trump refusing to fund food stamps through the government shutdown starting November 1st, right? And I see that 41 million Americans are going to lose access to food stamps. Are you saying that I don't really know that because I'm not Christian?
No, not precisely. What I'm saying is that when you interpret facts of reality, when you interpret what is good for humanity, that interpretation not being actually grounded in an objective standard would just be invalid.
Wait,
so
wait.
every
But the,
piece
the
of,
objective standard
Wait,
for, like,
can
the
I
idea that
finish?
41 million people are going to lose food stamps would be like the evidence for that, because that's how many people are on food stamps. The USDA is, like, running out of money because of the government shutdown, right? Like, that's objective, right? Like the number of people on food stamps, it's, like, that's an objective fact, right? That's going to be true, right? Like the fact that USDA is running out of money, right? That's objectively true, right?
Yes,
like,
Dean,
the evidence
you just
for those
cut
things.
me off. So can I finish? Can I finish, like, unpacking the point here? Because you just cut me off.
For sure.
Yeah. So the point is, right, because you don't actually have an objective standard to ground anything you say, everything you say politically would just be, like, relative, right? And so, like, if you're actually focused on the greatest good for all of humanity, right, then we should structure our conversation around worldviews, right? And so when I interpret information, I'm interpreting through a Christian worldview. When you interpret information, you're interpreting through an atheistic worldview. And so
Question.
from a Christian analysis, one second, I'm almost done. I'm almost going to land the plane here because you already cut me off before. I'm going to land the plane. From a Christian analysis, we say that the gospel going forth is the greatest good.
Yeah.
The gospel going forth. So do you disagree with that, Dean? Do you disagree that the gospel of Jesus Christ is the greatest good for all humanity?
Well, I think what, like, I more specifically disagree with, and this is going to be an internal critique of your view, is that Donald Trump is furthering the gospel. Dude, how can you sit here and tell me that this man, right, who is antithetical to everything that Jesus has taught, is furthering the teachings of Jesus? Like, do you think he was furthering the teachings of Jesus when he was boasting to Howard Stern about sexually exploiting kids?
Yeah, so again, this is not actually addressing my premise. So, Dean, can you repeat back my
Why are you
premise or the
running?
thesis of the conversation?
Yeah, you told us that
No,
you support
I'm
Trump.
not
One
running.
moment.
What you
You
just
told
said
us that
didn't
you
actually
support Trump
address
because you think that Trump is
my
furthering the
thesis.
gospel and that you're, like, pro-Jesus. So was he furthering the gospel? Was it pro-Jesus when he was boasting about sexually exploiting kids?
That's not my argument. So I'll answer
Wait,
the
so your
question.
argument
but I
is
want-
not that Trump is furthering the
I'll answer
gospel. Wait, I just want to clarify, Q-Top. If your argument is not that you support Trump as president
Yes, it
because he's
is.
furthering the gospel, then what is the reason why you support Trump as president?
Okay. Let me know when I can speak so I can actually give the argument for the third time, because for some reason you're having a really
for
hard
sure.
time.
I'll give you the
I-
mic.
yeah.
Just keep in
So-
mind the question being asked of you is, why do you support Trump as president? Because last time I asked you this question, I thought I heard the argument that you think it's because he's furthering the gospel and you think that the gospel is the greatest good. Now, after I put just, a little bit of pressure on that view, like, obviously he doesn't further the gospel, like, boasted about sexually exploiting kids, holy shit, you're now saying that is not your argument. So I will now instead re-ask you the question to get a more clear answer to make sure that we are on the same page. Why is it that you support Trump as president?
Okay, yeah. So for the third time, I'll clear up the confusion. I don't know if it's like you're having a hard time tracking linearly, or if you don't understand what I mean when I say I'm establishing a thesis for our discourse. Very, very simply, I said we
thesis
have
is
to
already
compare-
established. It's on top of my
and for
head.
some reason, I keep getting interrupted because Dean Withers is getting very uncomfortable. I think I've been more than tolerant with your, like, egregious interruptions. So I'll go ahead and repeat my thesis again. We have to do a worldview comparative analysis here to actually establish a foundation to interpret political facts. So what I'm saying is your worldview doesn't even have an objective standard of moral ethic to interpret any political fact. Now, if we recall the conversation, you asked me, well, look, do you support Trump? And I said, well, I think in order for us to actually establish a ground in which we can answer that question rationally, we have to talk about worldviews. Now, if you do not think the greatest good is the gospel of Jesus Christ going forth to all the nations, right, then the way that you interpret political data is going to be different than the way that I interpret political data. Now, if you want to grant me in this conversation that the gospel going forth is necessary and is the greatest good for all of humanity, then we can start talking about what Trump has done for that and what Kamala has done for that. So I'll ask you, Dean, for the sake of the conversation, do you grant me in the debate, Do you grant me that the gospel going forth, the gospel of Jesus Christ, is the greatest good for humanity? Do you grant that, yes or no?
Well, last time I did an internal critique of your views saying that it
yes
is.
or no? Do you grant that? Do you grant? Why are you running from me?
Q-Top.
Yes or no? Do you grant that thesis?
Q-Top, I just let you say around 200 to 300
That's
words.
the
You're gonna have to
concession.
let me say more than 4.
That's a concession. Go ahead.
I don't think that's a concession,
like-
Q-Top.
It's like
The only thing
Go ahead, bro.
here
That's my
is
question.
the empty space in your brain. I guess your head, an absence of a brain. But anyways, just to go back to what I was saying. So, I mean, I was just trying to do an internal critique of like this goal that it is the scripture that matters and that Christianity is true and that the Bible is good and the gospel's awesome. And I mean, that led you to telling me that it's not your argument, right? Because remember when I was like, okay, so like if the Bible is what matters, if the scripture is what's good, do you think that Donald Trump is furthering the scripture when he boasted about sexual exploitation? You responded to that by saying, Dean, that's not my argument, but now seemingly you want it to be your argument. So if you want that to be your argument, then answer the question, was Trump furthering the gospel when he was boasting about sexual exploitation, raping Jane Carroll, committing
really
felonies, so on and so
embarrassing.
forth?
I'll be honest with you.
And then to the second part of the conversation, when I asked you to repeat, because you interrupted me, when I asked you to repeat your argument to just get a better understanding about why you support Trump, the first thing that I got out of you was when you said, well, Dean, it's because I think because you're not a Christian, you can't interpret political facts due to a lack of an objective basis to understand reality and knowledge. In other words, are you saying that you support Trump as president because you don't think Dean Withers can interpret political facts?
Yeah, so I'll clarify the distinction. I don't know why you're having a really hard time comprehending this, and you still didn't answer my question.
The only
right, so the question that you
issue
asked
is
me,
you and the question
I'm
on
still
top
getting
of it.
interrupted. I'm still getting interrupted.
You can't
but yet
complain
don't want
about
me to
interruptions
interrupt you.
anymore because
this
you're
is like
interrupting
this is like very obvious. It's a tactic that you do, right? Like that you bring people up and then you like just like overtalk them and you like misrepresent their arguments, and then on top of that you just like constantly mute them. So I don't know why you like expect us to have a discourse that is fair, but then you're not actually treating it fairly. So I'll go ahead and express my point again for the third time. I want you to really track linearly to understand the distinction I'm making here. There's a distinction between supporting a political candidate and having a worldview by which support is even possible given an objective standard or methodology of criteria by which we interpret political facts. So when you ask me the question, do I support Donald Trump? I'm going to ask you, well, look, what do you think the greatest good for humanity is? If you think the greatest good for humanity is spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we can agree on that common ground, then the conversation can proceed because now we're operating off a common paradigm, off a common worldview. If your worldview is not interpreting facts the same way that my worldview is interpreting facts, then we're always going to disagree. This is why most conservatives are Christians. This is why most conservatives actually believe that the gospel should go forth throughout all the nations. So it's a paradigm issue. What you like to do is get caught up in policy and like this just semantic conversations. I actually want to focus on foundation here. So I'm going to ask you the question again. Hopefully we'll actually get an answer. Do you affirm that it is necessary that the gospel of Jesus Christ go forward to all the nations as the greatest good? Let's see if Dean will actually answer yes or no. Do you affirm that, Dean Withers, yes or no?
Oh, it's actually not even necessary for me to give you said affirmation in order to further the conversation that we're having. The reason is that I could just run an internal critique. Like I'll just internally critique your view.
I told y'all this is gonna happen.
Wait, Q-Top.
I told y'all this is gonna happen.
Do you dispute that I could
I told
critique
y'all
your
this was
view
gonna
with the use of an internal critique?
So, Dean,
No,
one
answer
second.
my
So
question. Do you dispute that I could just internally critique your view?
Internal critiques aren't possible in the Christian worldview. The Christian worldview is necessary. So in order for you to provide an internal critique under moral...
Wait, I can't wait. Wait. I'll give you one. I'll prove it's possible right now. Here's an internal critique. Christian, that's you, right? Supporting Donald Trump, the president, because you think he's furthering the gospel. Internal critique insert here. He obviously wasn't furthering the gospel when he was boasting about sexually exploiting girls. He obviously wasn't furthering the gospel when he raped Jane Carroll. He obviously wasn't furthering the gospel when he said that undocumented immigrants escaped mental asylums and prisons. He obviously wasn't furthering the gospel when he infringed on their constitutional rights by deporting some of them without due process. Illegally deported Abrigo Garcia, where he was then beaten, tortured, and starved in CCOT for 3 months. He obviously wasn't furthering the gospel when we have the plainclothes ICE agents pointing guns at people saying, poo, you're dead liberal. He wasn't furthering the gospel when he passed economic reform that amounted to the greatest redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich in modern American history, reducing the purchasing power of the average American making at or under $51,000 per year in accordance with studies done by the CBPP. He wasn't furthering the gospel when he then turned around and said, I'm not going to allow any emergency funding to go into SNAP benefits, thereby cutting SNAP benefits off for 41 million Americans. He wasn't furthering the gospel when he told 30,000 lies in his first term. He wasn't furthering the gospel when he called people patriots that tried to kill cops on the steps of the Capitol. Jesus would say they're damned to hell, and then, of course, Donald Trump let them out of jail. Poet, and I didn't know it, but the point is true nonetheless. He wasn't furthering the gospel when he cheated on all three of his wives, one with a
You're just rambling.
Because, well, it's not rambling. There just happens to be so many individual circumstances of Donald Trump acting antithetical to the Christian Bible.
Addressing my argument right
I
now?
am, because your argument is you support Donald Trump because you think he's furthering the gospel. So far, your only defense of this has been that most Christians are conservative. I thought that you're a little fucking Phil, bro. I thought that you were a little fucking Phil, bro. I thought that you were a little fucking Phil, bro. You as a Phil, bro, should know what an ad populum logical fallacy is, in the sense that just because a lot of people believe something doesn't make it true. And in fact, you as a Christian should definitely believe this, considering the fact that when Jesus was walking on earth, he only had 12 followers.
Yo. Okay, so are you done? I want to make sure you're done rambling.
I mean, there's more reasons. Wait, you asked me if I was done. Wait, Q-Top.
Okay, are you still
Q-Top.
done? Okay,
You asked me if I was
hold on.
done. So there's about a billion other reasons that I could give insofar as how Donald Trump is acting antithetical to the teachings of the gospel. But I'll stay at the first 25 examples I gave you.
Okay, are you done? I just want to make sure you're done. So I can
Done for now. Maybe later I'll have to bring up the tariffs and how they have a regressive tax and disproportionately hurt you more the less money you make, and how that's also not furthering the gospel, or like the other billion examples. But I'm sorry, I had to get it out. I'll stop. I'll stop.
So it's very obvious that you're just running away from like the foundation of your worldview, such that you can actually like justify any claim you're making. The point that I'm expressing here, I've expressed it like 4 or 5 times. From an atheistic worldview in which you don't affirm Jesus Christ being Lord, you're going to have no foundation at all to make any assertion that you're making right now. And so rather than actually addressing the foundation of your worldview, you keep spiraling into this like weird rambling like pseudo intellectual rant about like everything that Trump has done that's bad. Look, we've all sinned, right? The point that I'm making here, which I don't understand why you won't actually address this point, right? I'm not saying I support Trump in every single thing that he does. I actually was more of a Trump supporter like 6-7 months ago than I am now. I really don't, there's corruption on both sides. The point that I'm getting at here, which I think is very, very important, which I don't know why you keep dodging, because I asked you a very basic question. And what's interesting is you said, well, look, I can provide an internal critique on your worldview. Dean, just saying that you can provide it doesn't mean that it's actually rational. Someone can say, I believe 2 + 2 = 5. It doesn't mean that them saying that actually means that it's true or that it's rational. When you provide an internal critique on the Christian worldview, all you're essentially doing is saying that the Christian worldview is necessary. The Christian God is being proposed as necessary. So when you do a critique on what is necessary, that means you're conceding that the Christian worldview satisfies the necessary preconditions for intelligibility. Now, the problem is you don't actually want to get to a discussion about the foundation of your atheism and why it's actually bankrupt. All you want to do is sit here and ramble like a broken record about the things that you disagree with Trump on. Look, I disagree with a lot of things that Trump has done too. I disagree with a lot of things that Kamala Harris has done. I'm talking to you about the greatest good for humanity as someone that steps up and claims to actually care about the greatest good for the people. I'm asking you, do you agree that the greatest good for humanity is actually preaching the gospel so people's souls can be saved? I care about souls, Dean Withers. All you care about is bashing our president-elect. So are we up here talking about the greatest good for humanity or not? Do you agree? I'm going to ask you the question again. We're going to go full circle here to see if you actually answer. Do you agree that the greatest good for humanity? I don't want you to provide an internal critique, because I already destroyed that. I want a yes or no here. Do you agree?
Wait, I don't think
that the greatest good. Bro? Don't interrupt me. Wait. Come on.
But
do you?
Can I respond to the last minute and a half?
So you can't. So you think you can provide internal critiques? Yes, please respond. to that.
I want to respond to the last minute and a half. So one of the things that you said there was,
Yes, go ahead.
well, you could say these things, Dane, right? You could say that Donald
Yeah.
Trump isn't furthering the gospel. You could say that Donald Trump isn't Christian. You could give these examples, but they're not rational. And then you gave the very explicit example.
That's
Just
not what I
because you
said.
say
He's not
2
trying.
plus
Oh
2
my
is
God.
5
That's not what I
doesn't
said.
make that rational. Okay, well, the reason why it wouldn't be rational to say 2 plus 2 is 5 is because you can't prove that. In fact, it's very easily to disprove with simple mathematics. However, every single claim that I made about Trump is something that I can prove. For instance, the first thing I said is Donald Trump obviously wasn't furthering the gospel when he boasted about sexually exploiting little girls. And how about this? I think the crux of the problem here is you think that apparently because I'm not a Christian, nothing I say matters. You think Donald Trump's a Christian. Here's him saying that he likes to sexually exploit little girls. And this would be, right, in the Christian worldview. Because
I don't agree with everything.
You could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
Well, I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show. Yes. And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So there's that. I thought I could give you the evidence for the claim. And then in response to your comment that you don't agree with everything he's done, yeah, I gave you about 30 of the biggest things he's doing right now that apparently you disagree with because they don't further the Christian worldview. So, feel free to give me 30 examples of things that he is doing that do further the Christian worldview. So the good can outweigh the bad. I'd love that evaluation. So when I say he sexually exploits children, what do you say insofar as what the rebuttal is of something super pro-Christian he's done? When I say he's redistributing wealth from the poor to the rich, what do you say insofar as something that's super pro-Christian that he's done? When I say, right, that he is calling undocumented immigrants, treating them terribly, saying they've escaped mental asylums and prisons, torturing them, illegally deporting them, violating their human and constitutional rights, what do you say insofar as to counter something very Christian that he's done? Okay? It's called a comparative analysis. I'm not expecting you to be able to agree with every single thing that Trump does. But what I am expecting you to do is that because you're a Trump supporter, to be able to very clearly describe how the good outweighs the bad. So in the same way I was able to give you 30 examples of obviously anti-Christian things that Donald Trump has done or continues to engage in, I want you to give me 10 examples of very Christian things Donald Trump has done or continues to engage in.
This is so low tier.
Let's see if the guy.
I like you, bro.
Let's see if the guy that has been accusing me of running for whatever fucking reason for the last 30 minutes can answer this question. And if he doesn't, Chad, I want y'all to embarrass the fuck out of him, considering the whole time he's been doing this with his fingers.
Because Dean doesn't actually want to address my thesis, I'll go ahead and say my thesis again. I know we have some people who are coming in here from Christ Gang. God bless you guys, man. Thank you guys for coming up.
So you're not going to answer. I just want to clarify. You're not going to answer my question. I am, because you're running from my question. Because you're running from my question.
Bro, your question is a straw man. It doesn't even address my thesis. Right?
Wait, so asking you the good things that Trump has done doesn't address why you support Trump.
Now please respond, bro.
For sure. As soon as you call yourself an idiot 5 times in the mirror for saying you addressing the good things Trump has done doesn't address the thesis of how you still support him as president.
Now he's meaning me, guys. Now he's meaning me. So y'all see. So I'm gonna repeat my thesis again for everybody who's in here new. So Dean is getting very his blood pressure is rising, because Dean has actually, for the first time, encountered someone that actually wants to talk about the foundation of worldview such that we have a proper lens to interpret political facts. Now, I'm going to say this for everyone in the back. I used to be, bro. And now that Trump is in office, bro, it's a lot of things he's doing, bro, that even me, y'all know I used to wear a MAGA hat on here. I used to be I literally don't agree with some stuff. And it's a lot of things I'm not going to say publicly, because I have a suspicion that Trump has done things that I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I don't agree with that. What I'm saying is, Dean, we need to focus on the greatest good for humanity. This is why I came up here. I had a conversation to talk to you about the greatest good for humanity. The greatest good for humanity is the gospel of Jesus Christ being spread to all the nations. So my thesis is that apart from the Christian worldview, you're not even going to have a basis to establish a paradigm or a lens by which to view reality such that you can interpret if something is good or bad in the political realm at all. That's my thesis. You keep trying to change it back to making me this diehard Trump supporter. I'm not a diehard Trump supporter, bro. Do I agree with what he's doing for abortion? Do I think he's way better than Kamala Harris? Yes. And if you want to talk about that, maybe that's something you actually want to engage with me on. All human life is valuable because it's based upon an objective standard, which is the word of God. The word of God is objectively true. The Bible is true. Jesus Christ is Lord. And so God has made every human being with rights. And if those rights are imputed upon, there deserves to be a punishment. Women that commit this crime deserve to be punished. And we can talk about that if you actually want to talk about something of substance. But again, this goes on to my main point that the Christian worldview, bruh, if you're not a Christian, Dean Withers, you're not going to have a foundation by which to interpret these things. If you don't want to talk about that, bruh, just tell me like, hey, Q, I don't want to talk about that. If you don't want to talk about it, because that's what I came up here to talk about, Dean. So do you want to talk about that, Dean, or no?
Thank you so much. So it's really easy to work around this issue, okay? I understand what you're saying. You're saying the atheists, the terrible atheists, the terrible agnostics, the terrible non-Christians, they can't make any moral claims whatsoever. Listen, I hear that a lot from Christians. But the thing is, every single critique that I have levied of Trump since the moment our conversation has started, right, is immoral, right? Because I think it's immoral. It's immoral because other people should too. But more specifically and more relevant to this conversation is immoral because the Bible says it's immoral, right? And then insofar as your last comment there, saying that women that get abortions should be punished. They should be punished. You understand, okay, that Donald Trump and his billion sins that we've gone over, rape, sexual exploitations, best friends with Epstein, cheating on 3 wives, okay, one with a porn star, 34 felonies, 30,000 lies, attempted coup, right, of the outcome of the 2020 election, so on and so forth, okay? Not only do you not think those sins should be punished in the same way a woman accessing a healthcare should, but you actively support him serving as the president of the United States of America to scapegoat punishment, to scapegoat accountability, and that is a system in which you uphold. So, sir, I guess the question for you would be, do you think that Donald Trump should be punished for his sins? And if so, does Donald Trump's punishment, right, for rape, Donald Trump's punishment for sexual exploitation, Donald Trump's punishment for cheating on 3 wives, perversion, so on and so forth, include making him president?
Yeah, great question. I think it's still a pivot, but I will address that, Dean. I believe that every person that commits a crime should be punished. Now,
so Donald Trump should be president from jail?
Do I have a justifiable reason to believe that Donald Trump committed all the things that he is accused of? I do not believe so. However, this is not my main argument. Like, if you want to talk about this thing, because like, I'll be honest, like, you're really
gave him 4 shots, my friend. All right, we got to go to Boulder. I mean, listen, I gave him 4 shots to tell us, like, either does he think Trump should be punished? Can he like tell me like 10 good Christian things Donald Trump does in response to the 30 terrible anti-Christian things Donald Trump does? And he couldn't. Another W in the books. All right, real quick. Coral, thank you so much for the $20 over on Super Chat. Saying this guy's ridiculous. Yeah, sure is. Appreciate you for the $20, Coral. As well as B, thank you so much for the $10. Let's see here. Leo, thank you so much for the $10. And Grandma Diane, thank you so much for the $10 as well. And then Jolly with the $20 over on Super Chat. Thank you so much, Dolly. And Siri, thank you so much for the $50 over on Super Chat. Thank you so much for the love, Siri. Siri with the $50 says, as my Lutheran pastor grandpa used to say, Christian fundamentalists are no fun and are all mental. Well, yeah, that's pretty true. Thank you so much for the $50, Siri. Let me then go ahead and just make sure that we are thanking everybody over on Venmo and PayPal. Then I'm going to go ahead and hop off for the day. Alexis, thank you for the $5. Abigail with a 5. Lars, thank you so much for the 15, saying I'm Catholic and this guy sucks. Couldn't agree more. Maya, thank you so much for the $20, saying shut this idiot up. Thank you for the love, Maya. Miranda, thank you so much for the $15, saying for being Christian MAGA, bring up the sin of greed and how preaching to look like a good person will not lead people to heaven. Absolutely. Mad Scramble, thank you for the 5. Emma, thank you so much for the 5. And then Lauren, thank you so much for the $20, saying fuck Trump. Appreciate you so much for the love, Lauren. All right, folks, so let's go ahead and catch up over on PayPal too. Thank you so much, Amanda, for the $10 over on PayPal. Thank you, Amanda. And then Tanya, thank you so much for the $10. And then Carla, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Carla with the $20 says, I just donated $50 to the Satanic Temple on behalf of Q-Top. Thank you for that love, Carla. You were fucking awesome. You were awesome. All right, folks, we are going to go ahead and hop off for the day. I don't know what time I'm going to be live tomorrow, but I got to get my ass out to Boulder ASAP. So I'm going to go ahead and head out there now. Listen, all the love in the world to you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be in an on-the-go studio. It's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool. But I think my girlfriend's getting mad at me. I told her we'd leave at noon. Now it's 12:36. So I got to go apologize to her and hop on the road. Peace and love, folks. Bye-bye.